Well, let me discuss about how I can sit up here and let me. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing. I think it's funny because you'll be the first nigga that'll sit up here and try to find out if Alex Jones needs a boyfriend. That's the type of weak ass you are. You'll try to figure out if Alex Jones wants a boyfriend. You'll be hoping that some of the white supremacists are sodomizers so you can see if you can get you a boyfriend. Let me go ahead and joke about it. And what you don't understand is you can't do what the girls can do. They annihilate the warrior class, even if you aren't a warrior. If you're a black male, you're wearing my uniform, which means you are wearing the uniform of the warriors, and they will make no distinction between a moist idiot and the actual warriors. They won't make any distinction. Yeah, he'll be looking to see if he can find him an Ed Buck. Let me be Ed Buck's bed buck so I can go make some jokes. They're not interested in having you make jokes. Let's be very, very well aware of that. They're not interested in anybody trying to crack off some jokes. Everybody wants to play around until these folks show up. He is dead ass serious. And it shouldn't require me or anybody else to tell you. But by the way, Alex is dead ass. He's dead ass serious about what he's saying. He's not joking. I'm just the guy who's putting it in its proper context for you. But Alex ain't joking about this. He didn't run down the entire list of colonial logical arguments and principles and creeds. He didn't do that out of nowhere. He did that because he understands this is the code language. He's sending an all points bulletin to anybody and everybody who identifies with that Rahowa logic. He's letting them know the federal government is out to lunch. You all thought that what white supremacists wanted was an activist white supremacist as president. No, they didn't. They simply wanted an individual who would bring the federal government to a standstill. They're not concerned about the government cracking down on them. They know that every once in a while you hear them arrest white supremacists as a symbolic sacrifice. They've never had the idea that they were going to overthrow the government. They want the federal government to stand down. That's all. They simply want the federal government to stand down. And that's what he was articulating here. We want the federal government to simply stand down and allow us to do what we want to do. Allow us to retake the land. We don't need the federal government to retake it. All we want is the federal government to stand down, and we will do it. I recently came through Northern California. I recently came down Interstate 5 all the way straight down through Northern California. And let me tell you, if you're north of Stockton, California, it looks like Texas. It looks like Texas. There wasn't a black person anywhere in sight and weren't a bunch of Latinos either. And it felt like anywhere in rural Louisiana that I've ever been. It felt like anywhere in rural Alabama that I've ever been. And I remember that Bill O'Reilly once talked about that outside of Los Angeles and San Francisco, that those are your only really liberal enclaves. Everything else is conservative. And then you remember, oh yeah, California brought us Ronald Reagan and Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I've been down straight through Northern California. That's a long ass trek before you get to Southern California. And please be aware, it's like anything that you could see in rural Tennessee. It's like I'm talking about dirt roads, big stretches of farmland, white dudes with their trucks up on big wheels. It's like anything I've seen in the southern United States. It's like anything. You're under a delusion if you're not taking it seriously. I'm going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines here in a few moments. But before I do, I want to give us a very brief non-commercial break. This is the Black Channel.
We're in the middle of an unprecedented global pandemic. The CDC now has recommended that every American wear a mask in public to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Masks protect you from other people's germs and protect them from yours. They help you to safely do the essential things you need during this pandemic, like grocery shopping, picking up needed medicines, or going to the doctor. By slowing the spread, you are doing your part to end the pandemic, restart the economy, and return to normal. We are a business that is proud to do our part in providing this much-needed product. Check out our website, iwantamask.com, for the latest pricing. We are proud to offer discounts and free shipping for large orders.
The telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. That's your personal access code to the Black Channel. You are welcome to give us a call here tonight. Let us know what you think. You can go ahead and weigh in on this and other issues. Let me get caller from area code 419. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Jason. My name is Joe. I'm from Toledo.
Joe from Toledo, what's on your mind?
Yes, I just got in from work, so I actually missed the beginning of your broadcast. I just want to give you your props as usual. You start off with a high education level on the Cosmos, and you definitely are teaching us Black folks a lot. I've been listening to you now for 8 years, and I've learned a lot from you. Please keep on pushing your message, sir. And I look forward to every day. I rushed home just to make sure I caught your broadcast. And I do. It's a ritual for me to make sure that I watch all of your broadcasts, because it is most definitely free education, economically, socially, relationship enhancement. You do it all. Thank you very much. Black first.
Thank you very much for giving us a call to the Black first, as always. Let me see if I can get caller from area code 202. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Eric Archer, Washington, D.C.
All right, Eric, what's on your mind?
How you doing, Mr. Black? I just want to say thank you for your service and educating the Black masses. And yeah, we had this Alex Jones piece. I heard you play a little while. And that guy has been a nut for a long time, and the Black folks need to wake up to things like that, like you said. And I just had some questions on being a 36-year-old man trying to get ahead in life, trying to take my life to the next level, because I heard business last night. And what advice could you give a man with his finances, money together and credit in perfect shape, just trying to go from 50 to 100,000 with a job and entrepreneur hustle on the side?
Okay, well, once again, that depends on your talents and what you specialize in. So whatever it is you excel at, I can't tell you what that would be, but if it's something that you specialize in, that you excel at, this is the time to double down on that. If you don't have a CPA, you want to get one, preferably one that does deal with middle-sized or larger businesses. That's always helpful. You want to have the ability to get that as well.
Yeah, I keep hearing about CPA, but I don't really, I don't mean to sound ignorant, but I don't really know what a CPA is. Oh, a Certified Public Accountant. I'm sorry. I'm getting that. It's the CPN, because people got that little CPN with the little scams going around too. But yeah, get a certified public accountant. I got what you're saying. Yeah, I got a couple of females I know who do that kind of
Okay.
except for none of the large scale.
What you want to do is you want to have a CPA. You also want to have a banker. Between those two, they will help you about your finances to be able to deal with that a little more seriously. Okay.
Okay.
So that you need to have that. If you don't, you need to start on that. Because if you have significant savings, you really want to talk to some people who deal with folks who deal with much larger numbers, as well as can help open up avenues for you, guide you in directions where you can deal with things more on a scaling up what you currently have. Got it?
Okay, I got you.
All right. Thank you very much for giving us a call.
All right.
Please do give us a call again. Let me get a caller from area code 347. You're on live with Black Channel.
Oh, hey, Jason. This is Jonathan from Brooklyn.
Jonathan from Brooklyn, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what you were saying earlier about Alex Jones, like the talking points, what's so crazy about this is like about 10 years ago, I was going out with this one white girl. And then her father used to just do these crazy notions and just like blurt out. Every time he got angry at somebody else, it always had to be what always came up with something about black folks. They were like, damn, nigga, like what's your problem? You know what I'm saying? And then I remember it was just like randomly, like for no reason. And then she tried to come back into my life talking about, oh, we could work this out, and everybody around me was telling me, oh, you know, you need to do the right thing, get back with her. And I was like, nah. And then I stumbled onto your page, and then your broadcast on YouTube, and then like everything you were saying was making sense. And I want people to take this like serious, and it's not a joke. These people, they do really do that.
They really do believe that. Thank you very much for giving us a call. No, it's not a joke. It's very serious. Caller from area code 386. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace, Brother Jason. This is Kashama St. Cofer calling from Daytona Beach, Florida. How you doing?
What's going on your mind, brother?
Well, I was gonna go on to get back on the topic of this deputization of white men, you know, during this time, or they're taking advantage of this time to do so. It started happening even before this brother was shot in Georgia. The governor of Florida, he issued a order where he was calling so-called former law enforcement, you know, back into, you know, helping to keep order, you know, and that was just like sending a dog whistle and easing into it, and like giving these white supremacists and savages the okay symbol to say, hey, look, you know what I'm saying, federal government is going to start backing down, you know, little by little. And I think the governor's kind of kicked it off.
I mean, that's crazy to even say something like that, because to keep order, where's the lawlessness? The shelves were empty of toilet paper. There was nobody rioting. There was no civil unrest. There were no buildings on fire. There was no mass violence anywhere, except the white supremacists. Those are the only ones being violent right now. But former law enforcement, for what? To protect people. Former law enforcement to do what? To protect people from what? To stop what? What is it that's not happening right now? It's a bunch of folks sitting in their houses. I was driving all the way back from California to Louisiana, but it looks the same all the way from Louisiana to Florida. Nobody's going anywhere. The only place they're going to is the store. Nobody's got a job to go to. Protecting what? The police right now are sitting around twiddling their thumbs precisely because crime is down, because nobody's going anywhere. You can't rob anybody's house. Everybody's at home. Break-ins are going to be, when they report those, that's going to be an all-time low because nobody is going anywhere. Everybody's sitting at the house. Protecting from what exactly?
The same thing, I guess they were trying to protect, you know, people from Louisiana coming into the state from. You know, I guess that was a big issue too. Like you say, the roads were empty, but supposedly we had an influx of people from New Orleans coming to Florida. Supposedly. I haven't seen one yet, but
allegedly, there's this flood of people coming from New Orleans, making a beeline in the middle of a pandemic, one of the poorest places in America, is making a beeline for Florida to hang out on the beach doesn't make any sense. I'll let you have the last word.
It's because I'm white and I say so. Same thing with that citizens arrest BS with that brother in Georgia. It's because I'm white and I say so, and we're gonna have to learn to just start making our own rules. And you know, hey, it is what it is.
Well, that's the operative word there is we have to make our own rules, which is absolutely true because you cannot deal. Malcolm X told us, and it's still true today. You can't deal with a violent, savage, uncivilized beast with jokes. You're gonna be the class clown. You're not gonna deal with him like that. You have to speak to him in a language that a barbarian and a savage will understand. You gotta deal with that. And if they were capable of higher-minded logic and thinking and reasoning and mental capacities, maybe. But then again, I don't know how far I'd even take that. No, you're dealing with savagery. And the individual has got to be prepared for savagery. This is not the time for niggas be putting on their skinny jeans and testing out their dance moves. The guys who are out here not taking it seriously, just understand, I've told you all for years, they're looking for any black person they can catch by themselves. That was what I was saying about this the whole time. They're looking for any black person they can catch by themselves somewhere. You're in the neighborhood with a bunch of white folk. You're in the neighborhood with a bunch of white supremacists. They're around you every day, and you telling yourself, I ain't got to worry about that. I don't have to take that seriously. That's not a real threat. That's not something I have to worry about. Me and my family, and I don't know if his family are foundational black Americans or not, but black folk love to tell themselves it ain't that big an issue. It ain't a problem. I'll be all right. I'll just keep my head down. I'll just keep my head down, and they won't mess with me if I just keep my head down. And you're the first person they go after because you're keeping your head down. You're the first person they'll go after. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 619. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Free. I'm calling from Speaker Kansas.
Okay, take your phone off the speaker. Whatever you're doing in there is echoing badly. Try that one more time. What is your name and where you're calling from?
Hello?
Brother, last try. What is your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Free calling out of Kansas City.
Did you say Free calling out of Kansas City?
Yep.
All right, Free, what's on your mind?
Okay. With regard to all that's happening right now, I kind of have a different way of looking at things. If I were to give to you a scenario where everybody black is on code, ready and willing, money in hand, ready to do, what are some of the approaches or the best approaches from that point? You got the world at your feet. We rock together.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
We all have our money in.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm sorry?
How old are you?
42.
You're 42 years old. Do you have any kids?
Yep. Yes, I do.
How
Two
many?
daughters, 18 and 20.
Okay. And what have you built for them? Now that they are grown women, what have you built for them? What are you passing down? What tangibles are you passing down to your now adult daughters?
I have nothing to pass down at all, which is part of the reason why I'm calling.
Okay. That's going to be something that needs to be addressed because before you talk about what we need to do as a group, you first got to get things together as an individual.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think this thing is going to happen in a gradual type of way.
Yes,
I believe it's going to happen much like I believe it's going to happen much.
Okay, but brother, here's the real thing. Here's the real thing. I don't really like to engage in chit chat. So my real thing here is, before you go any further, you're going to talk about, well, if black folk had this, that, and the other, and if had their money together, yeah, but how do we engage in this conversation if you're not there yet? So any opinion you have on it, that's just going to be, past the joint talk, past the blunt talk. You got grown daughters of your own, and you have to be a microcosm of what it is you want to see in the society. So whatever it is you want to see in the society, I have to take a look at you, not the rest of the society. I have to take a look at you and ask myself, is this guy contributing to the type of society that he claims he wants to see? Or is he just interested in talking about hyperbole and hypotheticals? Because that hypothetical stuff is how grown men attempt to avoid taking actual action. So I'm about that action. What is the action you're going to take with two grown daughters?
Well, what if I told you that in 1804, what happened in that swamp?
I mean, what if? Brother, this is bad. I mean, this is just getting worse. What if? I asked you a question about you, and your response was, what if? So I would just like to say to you, that right there is precisely the problem. Right there. Before we go any further, you have to fix that before you can do anything else, because nobody, especially females, especially your daughters, nobody's going to respect a man who deals in hypotheticals all the time. They expect tangibles from us, not hypotheticals, not what ifs, not let me give you a scenario. I mean, through this whole phone call, let me present you with a scenario. Well, what if? Well, the way I think about it, well, can we? Not one thing about I'm doing. And you got offspring. So you're going to have to deal with that first, okay? That's going to be the first thing you want to take care of. When you do that, it'll come together better. You'll better understand what you need to do next. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We need grown men who are ready to act like grown men. No, I want to present this tonight. I want to present this tonight. I want you to understand that in the face of guys like Alex Jones, this is what we're hearing. With Alex Jones telling you that he's going to start eating people, quote, starting with the, quote, globalists and then the Africans and Latinos. And we got grown men. I'm scared to death. He don't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know how to even start the discussion of what he's supposed to be doing. Well, can we sit around and discuss academically what we should be doing in the logical hypothetical scenario of which I have put together on the scoreboard here as we war game through this intellectual niggas, stop. Niggas, stop. You got daughters, you got sons. If you doing this at 43, you've been doing this your whole damn life. Your children don't have anything to defend themselves with. It's as if they are the first immigrants to show up in America. They don't have a damn thing. And you 40-something years old saying, can we discuss hypotheticals some more? No. No, we can't. You can imagine what kind of father he was if after 20 years, the daughters ain't got nothing. Caller from area code 702. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Leilani, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Lord, if you're on speaker or Bluetooth, take that off. Everybody's
calling
me tonight.
Right now.
Everybody's calling me tonight with their speakerphones on and whatnot. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, can you hear me there?
Okay, what is your name? Where you calling from?
Okay, Leilani, and I'm with from Las Vegas, Nevada. I thank you for what you do as a person because you speak the way I speak. I don't hold no punches. Reality is fucking reality. Excuse my language, but I mean, this guy, whatever he's talking about, how about you teach your daughters how to get locked and loaded? because that's what we're up against. People better realize the nature of these people. This is not a joke. I know what I've been experiencing some things in my own personal life with my children, from school to adulthood, and they're out for blood. That's their nature. Should we say that, I need to pray to Jesus and he's going to save us? The black people that Jeffrey Dahmer ate, did Jesus save them? What if there's a day that I forget to pray? See, I'm being told to pray. Just pray and it'll be okay. No, you better get locked and loaded.
When you have people threatening you with tangible action, that's not the time to be trotting out discussion of intangibles. It's illogical, it's irrational, and it's damn sure unmanly. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, Leilani. We do appreciate that. Let me get caller from area code 718. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Steve. I'm calling from New York.
Steve, from where at in New York?
In Queens, New York.
Queens, New York. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want, I've been making observations. I study these white supremacists from Alex Jones to David Duke. And, there's a connection between the NRA and the Russians. How these white supremacists are backed up by Russian insurgents that are in the government, in the military, white supremacists and Satanists in the military. They're all interconnected. And this guy, Alex Jones, was outed out by William Cooper years back. He had William Cooper killed, because he wrote that book, The Old Pale Horse, and he took his place. But all these white supremacists are tied up with geopolitics with the Russians, because they see the Russians as their saviors.
Okay, this is the other side of that Alex Jones babble. We got Negroes out here. When Alex Jones shows up, they start showing up and wanting to out-babble Alex and whatnot. White supremacy is not linking up with Russians. White supremacy conquered the world 300 years ago. They're not relying on Russians. There is no white-Russian connection. It is a world, global, dominant system. So no, that's not what's occurring. That's not what has occurred. But this is the other side of that right there. Thank you for your call, but no thanks.
Right.
What happens is when we start talking about these guys like Alex Jones and whatnot, if it brings out that particular subset of people, they all sit around and engage in conspiracy gossip all day and conspiracy babble. And that's what they do. Not because they're actually going to do anything. But understand, this is what happens. 2 black males so far, both of them wanting to engage in hypotheticals, intangibles, philosophical debates. Well, Jason, I got 2 daughters. What do you suppose I can do? Well, Alex Jones. I mean, he talk about the globalists. They killed William Cooper and they get together with the Russians. They get rid of the Russians. That guy was letting you know he's in New York and he's helpless. He's in New York and he's helpless. No, Russia's not a part of white supremacy. That's more scared nigga babble. More cowardly nigga babble. You're another one of the cowards out here. You're trying to focus on, there's always some jackass who tries to do that. Oh, it's the Russians. Oh, it's the Jews. Oh, it's the Arabs. No, it's a global system. And that's your way of mentally masturbating yourself. You thong wearing, high heel wearing coward. That's your way of masturbating yourself mentally. Let me talk about these Russians and these Arabs. Okay, not a word about, by the way, here's what has to be done. We're not supposed to be focusing on Russians. We're supposed to, the question isn't, are they white? The question is, are they black? Everybody sees it the same way against us. Everybody. But Negroes want to, scared niggas like to sit around and babble about things. They want to sit around and babble about stuff day in and day out. Let me argue about it. Let me cry about it. Not gonna do anything about it. Let me sit around and pontificate with a bunch of damn prison philosophy. This is what niggas in prison do because they're helpless, because they're trapped. They don't actually organize an uprising. What they do is they sit around and they become religious scholars. If you ever talk to a nigga that spent 10 years in prison, you realize he's a scholar of every damn language out there. He knows every language out there. He knows every religion. He can walk you through Christianity and Islam and Buddhism and transcendental meditation. He can walk you through all the religions. The only thing he can't walk you through is liberation. And everything is about a damn debate. So you can listen to him tell you how smart he thinks he is. Think about that for a few moments. Caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Reginald, calling from Cali, Colombia. How you doing?
Reginald from Cali, Colombia. What's on your mind?
Man, when are your Negroes up there when they get some balls and put reparations on the table and just stop voting till it's on the table?
Well, we're kind of on the road to doing that now. Right, you're behind, brother. The news might be slow down there in Colombia, but we're already on the road to doing that
now.
I
see it. I see it every day. I see the news every day. Okay. And then you got this cat. Well, what's his name? P. Diddy? Who is he? Who the fuck is he? Trying to hold the vote hostage. Number one, he don't speak for Black America. He's a rapper. You know, he's on a payroll. He's a bought and paid for Negro.
Well, right now, because of the momentum that we've gained, we have gained so much momentum that now it has broken them. So 4 years ago, they weren't talking like this. 4 years ago, they were sitting up here and talking about politics and everything else. Today, they're talking about what we're saying. So what P. Diddy is confirmation of is that we in the new Black media, we are guiding the discussion. We are controlling the narrative. And for now, for publicity's sake, he's following it, but he's really showing you that he has surrendered. And he's not the only one. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me go ahead and see if we can get another call. Let me get a caller from area code 647. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller from 647, last try. You're on live.
Hi.
Okay, put the baby oil down. I know you're rubbing and caressing yourself and rubbing various body parts, but I need you to put the bottle of oil down and pick up the phone. I don't know if she's checking the batteries on her sex toy right now with all that clicking. You can keep saying hello, but are you going to actually say your name and where you're calling from?
Oh, sorry. Okay, I just wasn't sure that I'd get on the line, so I'm calling from Montreal.
I know you're distracted. Canada. What is your name?
Sarah.
You say Estera?
Yes.
Okay, Estera. Well, thank you very much for actually picking up the phone and speaking. What's on your mind?
I'm sorry about that. I do apologize. I just wanted to say that this was great content. Sorry?
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
I just wanted to say this was great content for today's live. And it seems, from my understanding, it seems like a lot of Black people in America aren't prepared for what's to come. And that's quite alarming. And this was great information, so thank you.
Well, most people are not ready, but then again, I have always believed in the idea of thinning the herd. I don't have to do anything. white supremacy is going to do all the doing. So anybody out there telling themselves, I don't have to get smarter, I don't have to build up any assets, I don't have to do anything. The government needs poor black people. There's a bunch of black folk who deluded themselves into believing that. Anybody who believes that on either side of the border, by the way, in North America or Canada, anybody anywhere in the world that believes that white supremacy has carved out a niche where they're going to park all the black folks and just leave us, that is not what's going to occur. That isn't what they're doing. That's not what they're sizing up. And nobody is able to do otherwise.
Agreed. So would you, as a recommendation, would you safely say that obviously education is the key and really stick with those that look like you to secretly build?
Well, I'm not going to say necessarily secretly, but you need to be taking care of yourself.
Organized.
A decent credit score is necessary. The problem with black folk organizing is it usually just turns into a squad of poor people getting together. And that's the problem that we run into. It usually turns into that. That's
okay, my last question. Okay. Hi there.
You say harder?
No, I said hi there.
Okay, I thought you said harder for a moment. I was about to say, is she playing with herself?
No.
Okay, you're just sitting on the line quietly. Wake up, man.
I'm here. It's just chipping in and out. My last question is, what can someone young do for themselves to set them up nicely? So far, I work a fairly good job. I'm young, so just curious what you would have to say.
Well, basically, you need to make sure that you have taken care of yourself first and foremost. A weak person can't help other weak people. You can only help other people if you actually have the ability to help yourself. If you are helpless, nothing else is going to happen.
Got it.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again. I want Antoine in the chat room. Antoine Smith needs to give us a call up. If they're not on the line in 2 minutes, I want them banned. They have 2 minutes to call up. If they are not on the line, I want them banned. Also, Black Body Whatever needs to be on the phone also. If they are not on the phone in 2 minutes, I want them banned also. It's time for us to learn a couple of things about that. I'd like to find out about that. They can certainly go ahead and give us a call about that. They've got 2 minutes. If they don't, I want them banned. In the meantime, we'll get caller from area code 305. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Blessings and pleasantries, Brother Black, B1. This is Bobby Drake calling from Miami, Florida.
Bobby Drake, it's been a while. What's on your mind?
Doing pretty good, brother. This is an important broadcast that you're having, but at the same time, it's one of those subjects and areas that I get annoyed with pretty easily because you get a lot of the kind of comments that make on tonight where they want to focus on babble and they want to concentrate on all manner of conspiracy talk and everything else except the topic at hand. And it's just like the people who were in Ferguson with the breakdancing and the Michael Jackson, rhinestone gloves and jackets, it's just distractions, fear tactics. They're trying to audition to become the court jester or some White Thompson's butt buddy instead of actually trying to find out, what can we do to take on the threat? How do we break this down? How do we get into it? And they rather just discuss everything but the real grown-up discussions. But I'm glad you're going into it. And one thing that I want to highlight was, this is about a restructuring of society. They're really trying to seize and take control of the controversy and really buckle down. And I don't know if you mentioned this before in one of your previous broadcasts, but an old friend of ours, Ammon Bundy, was in the news at the beginning of last month, where he was, of course, protesting the idea of stay-at-home orders. He was encouraging other white supremacists to not heed them, and he was actually holding meetings over at his house, and there's more than 10 people recommending. And they're basically planning and strategizing.
Well,
And
a lot
every
of them
time
are
there's
jumping
a
up now.
situation like
That's
this,
the
whether
point
it's
we're making.
Katrina,
All the white supremacists right now are mobilizing. They're using this virus as their impetus to mobilize. They're all, remember, Clive and Bundy's son was the one up there in Oregon, I believe it was. They were testing the limits. They were testing how far they could push it under Obama. And they saw how much they could get away with it. Everybody just remember, they went to federal court and they were all released. I mean, they had a damn standoff and actually bust shots at federal employees of the Forest Service. They were busting shots at them. And
for a whole month.
They didn't do any time. They went to court, but they didn't go to prison. So, of course, now they're back again. They're like, hell, if they had the state of affairs right now, they'd still be occupying that land up there in Oregon. They'd still be doing it if they had the situation they have right now. So they were busting shots up there. Nobody hit them with RICO. Nobody called them terrorists. They treated Bobby Shmurda worse than they treated Clive and Bundy's son and his collaborators. And so it's not even a surprise that this virus is bringing them out all over the place. They're all seizing upon this, and that lets you know right now we need to be ultra vigilant that so many of these confirmed white supremacists are being mobilized at this moment in time, and they're all citing this virus as a call to arms to everybody else. We need to be very, very well aware of this and very vigilant about this. The time for the bull jobbing and the playing, I want to be a big ass kid. Those are Negroes who are basically saying they're ready to die. That they have given up. They have signed the suicide pact. And at this point right now, they're just hoping that their end is painless. When you got a grown ass man trying to play class clown when we're talking about Alex Jones eating people, he's telling you, nigga, I been gave up. What y'all talking about fighting for? I been gave up. Man, they can just come get me. I just hope I got a blunt in my hand when they show up, nigga. I hope I got a blunt in my hand when they do. You talking all that black power and survival stuff, man. Look here, I ain't trying to do all that. So we have a choice to make for ourselves and ask ourselves, are we all going to sign the suicide pact along with them? Or are we going to say, oh, hell no. Africa's been here for 1 million years, and on our shoulders, it'll be here for 1 million more. We're going to outlive the virus and the cavemen and the savages and the beasts. We're going to outlast all of them. We were here before you. We'll be here after you. That's the only question we have to answer for ourselves right now. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 312. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. Good evening. This is Chanel calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Chanel from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Hi, Jason. Yeah, so I just wanted to call because I have been looking at the conversation in the chat room, and I find it extremely disheartening to see how people find any type of humor in what Alex Jones said. We are dealing with an extremely serious time right now, and I think our people are too busy focusing on selfishness and self-centeredness and ego and what makes them look good instead of being focused and having a level of accountability. If we were to look at our performance right now as a whole, we are functioning as poor. I don't think that we are looking at how we can actually pull our resources together, how we can actually better our homes, better ourselves, and then look at ourselves as a collective. We are literally at war right now, and I think people are playing around. And the thing that has really, I've come to the realization of, especially with this whole pandemic, is not everybody is going to make it. I realize that. I'm just over it. I think that we have to have some control over ourselves because we can't control anybody else. But in doing so, we have to recognize that there are some of us that we just cannot continue to waste the energy on because they're not going to make it with the rest of us. So we have to pull together those who are the strongest and then begin to work together as a collective to try to help ourselves. Because if we don't do so, these people are out to kill us by any means necessary.
Let's be clear, Chanel. We're already experiencing the last gasps of the cowards and the class clowns now. You go to any grocery store in America, the class clowns were out there in week 1 or 2. They're all sitting around right now. You talking about Alex Jones eating people. Let's just be very clear. Bushika and Shantikia are sitting around looking at each other like, hey, you looking like a snack. And I mean that on the real. You looking kind of snackish over there, Shantikia. Well, so are you, Bushika. They're all looking at each other wondering who gonna get ate first. So right now, let's also understand P. Diddy isn't saying what he's saying right now just because he's bored, because he is. But he's not saying it just for that. It's survival of the fittest across the board. Why do you think they're going nuts about the checks and stuff? Why do you think they're all saying, well, hell, what are we going to do? Because right now there's a hell of a lot of indecision. I don't know how many of you worked in corporate America. I have, and let me be very clear with you all right now. This has been a godsend to corporate America. Do you understand that? It's been a godsend. They have legally been allowed to basically lay off the majorities of their workforces, and they will, with government financing, they will be allowed to ramp back up at their own leisure. And understand, your airlines, for one, the airline companies have already said that their companies are going to be a lot smaller when this is over. American Airlines said that. Delta said that. Southwest is now saying that. They're saying that when this is over, they envision a leaner company. Not going to be as many of them. We want to cut costs. Hell, you don't even have to negotiate with the unions right now. General Motors and Ford, they want to hurry up and restart operations so that they can cut the workforce without having to negotiate with the union. They've got the full backing of the federal government and the World Health Organization right now. So before now, they had to negotiate layoffs at the plants. Today, they ain't got to negotiate a damn thing. I've been telling people this from the very beginning. You haven't seen all the dimensions this is going to come at you from, and nobody else is talking about this because they haven't worked in these places and they don't understand. I was telling you all from the beginning, when they enact these checkpoints in Texas and Florida, even after they, quote, lift the so-called restrictions, the checkpoints and the prohibitions against black folk entering the states are going to remain in place. And lo and be damn hold, Texas said they're lifting the restrictions. They even said, oh, we're lifting restrictions on Louisiana folk coming through the state. But then I said, but what are you also going to tell the state and local law enforcement that they cannot put up any type of checkpoints and can't do any damn papers, please, on anybody from Louisiana, i.e. black folk? Not a word about that. Not a word about that. That was the language that was in his executive order. Just understand, unless he has specifically rescinded that, that means it remains in place. So that ain't going anywhere. Florida, same thing. South Carolina, same thing. And by the way, there are a number now of northwestern states that are now in effect, in spirit, at least in principle, are adopting similar quarantine policies. So even after this is over, even if you have a vaccine or a treatment, even after that, they've already put in place, oh, this is the new way. You're going to deal with this long after this virus has given so many people the cover that they need to enact so many of the little dirty demonic things they've been wanting to do for so long. This is their opportunity to get a lot of things done that they ordinarily would not have been able to get through legislation. Anybody sitting around and trying to joke and play the class clown about it, and oh, this is funny and this is humorous, That's a person who has said, you know what? I'm just ready to die. I ain't worried about it. If they get me, they get me. That's that nigga. If they get me, they get me. Ain't nothing you can do about it. I'm ready for the next life. Well, you were a coward in this one. I don't see why you don't extend anything. But let's just be clear, sister. This can be a good thing for us too. If we allow it to be. I'm not afraid of a thinning of the herd. I'm not afraid of that. Because you can't warn people that there are going to be consequences and then the consequences never show up. You can't do that. If you tell people that there are going to be consequences for negligence, there are going to be consequences for being apathetic, there are going to be consequences for being irresponsible, you can't say that and then consequences never come and you retain your credibility. At some point, as difficult as it is to accept, consequences are going to have to show up at some point. I'm saying, okay, we're here now. There's consequences all over the damn place. For the folks who have gotten prepared and gotten ready, it's not going to be a rough ride for us because we were already prepared. It's Bushika.
Exactly.
And it's Bushika and Ladanian who are running around trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do now. Not the rest of us.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that I live in Chicago, Illinois, but I am not there now. I have another place out in the country that I decided to get out of the city. I don't think people are really paying attention to how serious the situation is. People can say one thing, but then they'll show you something different. And I don't think anyone's taking into consideration, as you just stated, what happens when they stop interstate travel and people are stuck in these particular areas and can't get out with food, with pandemics, no job, no money, waiting on a Trump check, and no other means of taking care of themselves because they haven't properly prepared.
Well,
I think part of it is that we have to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They've already done it. That's the real thing about it. By the way, they've already done that. Like, right, what I'm telling you is that right now, effectively, the damage is already done. Everybody's waiting for the damn tanks to roll down the streets and, stuff like that. That's not the way this is going to work. That's not the way this is going to work. The way this is going to work is what you're seeing right now. I have to remind you all of the words of Jared Taylor when I asked him, what does a white ethno-state look like? And his words to me were, it wouldn't look any different from any other majority white enclave. Those were his words to me. I got it on video. If you saw my documentary, Race War, it wouldn't look any different from any other. What he's telling you is, oh no, we have no intention of disrupting what we're doing. The society, what we want is absolute dominance. But we're not. It's not going to be what you all think that, like that movie Red Dawn. Psychologically, they're prepared for that, but in reality, it's not going to be that. It's going to be what you saw with Trayvon Martin. It's going to be Ferguson. It's going to be Sanford, Florida. It's going to be Laquan McDonald. It's going to be that, only on an unrestricted level. That's what it's going to be. But every day is going to look like every other day. Here's the problem, sister. What good does it do? Dr. Claude Anderson said this for decades. What good does it do for me to give you the ability to have interstate travel if you ain't got no damn money? If I took away your ability to earn money where you from, what good does it do for you to travel? If you have no marketable skill and you don't have any resourcefulness, what good does interstate travel do for you? The most traveling these hoes do is on Spirit Airlines to go meet some jackass on Plenty of Fish somewhere. Whorehouse culture. What good does it do for you to have the ability to get on Spirit Airlines if you don't have the money or the means? What good does it do for you then? I'm just telling you all right now, in case you hadn't noticed, the whole white infrastructure, black folk believe, black people really as a group, there's a large number of black folks who really do believe the Democrats are looking out for them, and that when this is over, don't worry, we gonna be all right. Joe Biden is showing everybody. He said that gay rights were going to be his number one priority when he got in office. LGBT issues would be his number one priority. The dumb idiot Negroes are not sitting here taking a look at what people are really saying to them. And you know what? That's okay. That's all right. Because you and me and us and we understand. And that's all I've ever asked for. I've only asked that we understand. Y'all have to remember, it took 6 million Jews going to the concentration camps before Jewish society as a group took the threat to themselves seriously. It wasn't until the Holocaust that they all got together and said, whoa, these white supremacist Gentiles really will try to wipe us out to the very last man, woman, and child. I have to remind you all again, there was a fantastic documentary called The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It was once aired on the History Channel, but you can buy it on Amazon. It was part one was The Rise of the Third Reich. Part two was The Fall of the Third Reich, but I think it's marketed as The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It's a very long series, but I invite all of you to watch it. Get your hands on it, particularly for the first couple of chapters, because they went through a painstaking amount of research, gathering up articles, quotes, news stories from prominent Jews in Germany, Jews at Jewish newspapers, in the media, clergy, all of them saying Chancellor Hitler ain't that bad. He doesn't have a plan in place to wipe us all out. We need to just go about our business. Jewish celebrities, as it were. Everybody's sitting up here saying, it ain't that bad. Everybody's sitting up here acting like Stacey Dash. Just goofing around. Oh, it ain't that bad. And then it happened. But then again, it was always happening. It was always happening. So just understand, for we as black folk here, it's the same thing. It took them a while. It took them a while before they actually accepted, yeah, they really will wipe us out. They really will. And the fella sitting over here telling us about it ain't that bad, he's sitting in the damn concentration camp with the rest of us. How well did his damn advice work out? Exactly. How well did this nigga's cowardly advice work out? We're all sitting here in the concentration camp together. And sometimes it takes that to occur. As black folk, remember, I've always taught you all that when we were released from the plantations, what usually happens is a reorganization of government. That's usually what happens. The government gets reorganized. But that didn't happen with us. We were just released from the plantations. We were just let go with all of the coons and the bed winches and the Sambos and everybody who had been selling us out and collaborating on the plantations. They walked off the plantations with us. All the people who had been holding up the Bible, all of those slave plantation preachers who had been preaching pie in the sky and heaven in the hereafter and just keep your head down, they became the community leaders. They became the community leaders and the clergy leaders. Go find you a nigga that was preaching, can show you a church that was around 150 years ago. You better check out the pastor. You better check out that church's tradition. Do they have a tradition of resistance against white supremacy? Or do they have a tradition of preaching the love of Jesus and focusing on the hereafter?
Exactly.
You better ask yourself about those churches. I'm the person who told you all from the very beginning. Everybody's talking about, the immigrants today and whether or not they're on the same page as the descendants of American slaves. But remember, I told you all that coonery is generational. I said that going on a decade ago. It's generational. It gets passed down. You're not seeing this stuff just pop out of the earth like Nimrod. It's generational. If you find a coon, take a look at his mama and his daddy, and then take a look at his grandfather and his grandmother. And you're going to start to see a pattern forming. Maybe the previous generations had interracial sexual access, maybe they didn't. But the bottom line is it's generational. And we ignore that at our own peril. But it's generational. And at this point right now, we have to understand that, yeah, that's why you see so many of them. And then they've added the immigrants on top of that. Now, you're looking around and saying, damn, it's a bunch of folk out here buck dancing. You got your NFL and everything else. They're sitting up here talking about your mama like a dog, and you're like, oh, this is inspirational. Yeah, coonery. Who do you think he learned it from? He learned it from the mama they talking about. She probably thought it was a great moment. Hey, spotlight's on me. It's not accidental. So understand, those folks, that, oh, by the way, and just in case somebody was under the idiotic assumption that the athletes were any better off, have you all forgotten that 95% of them go broke within 5 years of leaving the league? How many times has ESPN gone and done an interview with some former NFL athlete, some former boxer or whatever, living in a damn food truck in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
How many times have they done that? It's not like when they get done with them, when they finish buck dancing and cooning and acting a fool, everything is happily ever after. 95% of them return to the poverty from whence they came. You ain't going to make it out alive. You're not going to make it out. They're going to eat you alive. They already have it. You can buck dance all you want to. When they turn off the spigot of the endorsements, you're done. Because they know you're not mentally or emotionally prepared. You think they're going to be your second father. Don't worry, they're going to take care of me. Okay, watch. Go ahead and watch. I'll let you have the last word.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. I was just going to say to the listeners, I hope that we will get to a point to where we can actually begin to utilize, critical thinking skills and just transcend the tomfoolery and the buffoonery and the foolishness that's currently taking place and be able to actually critically look at what is happening in our world so that we know how to properly navigate for our own survival. And I just wanted to say also, thank you for everything that you do. I know that you are, educating the populace, and hopefully, there will be some multipliers out there amongst your listeners who will be able to take the message out to the masses as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from California. Area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller from area code 323. Last try. You're on live. Okay, caller from 323 has been abducted. Caller from area code 816. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, Jason. This is Loretta from Boston, Massachusetts.
Loretta from Boston, what's on your mind?
Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to remind the audience just to say, hopefully everybody will play their position when the stuff hits the fan. It's already hit the fan. But it's a lot of people out that are caught up in these roles, society roles, about what men should do, what women should do. As a Black woman, I'm prepared to stand behind the Black men in my community and play my position. You know what I'm saying? I have a certain position in the hierarchy of our culture. And we need to come back to that, because when it comes time to fight, it's going to be a lot of confusion. Nobody's going to...
Because you've had access to secretarial positions, you've had access to HR positions. The problem is when most black women get in those positions, they start sitting up here and doing something different. So that becomes a bigger issue. But definitely, if you're going to be in those situations, if you're going to be in those positions, that's the kind of thing that you want to be doing right there. That type of inside knowledge is what we really need. That's the kind of thing that we really need right there. If you're going to be there, be on the inside and actually finding out what these folks are doing and then come back and report to black people. We need people who are going to blow the whistle on this stuff. In white society, anything we doing, there's somebody to blow the whistle on that. As black folk, we're walking around blind until some white person says something. And then there'll be 10 black folks standing right next to the same white supremacist who was doing wrong. We had to wait for a white person to say it because they've been so mentally, emotionally colonized. So that's the thing for us to take a look at.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 919. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, brother, this is Taj calling from the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill area.
Taj calling from Raleigh. What's on your mind?
So you were making mention earlier. I made a comment to some friends on Facebook when they were supporting Joe Biden. And I simply said, let us not forget his support along with the Congressional Black Congress of crime bills that adversely affect black folks. And someone responded, yes, we've heard those half-hearted comments. I said, my brother, I respond to things so that we might have discussions to move forward. And another brother responded, these are all your affluent bougie Atlanta folks. I'll leave it at that. Brother responded, I don't care if he F Jesus' mother, I still wouldn't vote for 45. Sister right behind him said, I don't care how much he violated me, I wouldn't vote for 45. I said, do we hear what we're saying? We're basing our opinion on who we're voting for president based on who's the less pedophilian, the less misogynistic, the less of the perverse. I said, do we understand that? They said, you sound like a Trump supporter. I said, no, I support those that look to repair us. Silence. You hear what I'm saying, brother? Nothing but silence.
Well, you have to understand, brother, right now, you got a lot of Negroes who are really just replicating what they believe the white supremacists want to do. That's something that we have to understand. I've always talked about.
They come across as liberal. I don't mean to interrupt you. They come across as being liberal.
No. They come across as being butt broken. You got to understand. With black folk, there's a little white supremacist on every black person's shoulder. And that little white supremacist, whenever black folk open their mouths to speak, whenever they ask a question specifically about white people, that little white supremacist starts squawking in their ear and saying, okay, you know what you're going to say now, right? So understand something. If you really want to know what a black person really thinks, you have to put a white person in front of them. Because to you and me, they're going to say what they think the white supremacists want to hear. If you really want to know the truth of what a black person thinks, you got to put a white person in front of them. Then ask them anything you want, and then you'll find out what they really believe.
It's along the lines of what Brother Dick Greg would say. You know, you go to white folks, they tell us what y'all talk about when we're not there. You know, it's along those lines. But I'm talking about black folks, and we talked about, I expect that from the Alex Jones, my friend. I expect that. There's no surprises there. I'm not even going to act like I'm surprised. That puts me down as an ignorant. If I'm surprised at someone who comes from that mindset, speaks from that in which they come from. But when those who've been suppressed by that mindset continue to step and fetch and yes, a boss and bootlick, you hear what I'm saying?
Well, no, you just have to write those off. Just be glad that they have exposed that. During this era, the folks who are actually going to do something, they're letting you know it. Because this is the hour to let it be known that that's what side they're on. The folks who aren't, I'm happy that they're all coming out the woodwork and just admitting that they're scared and they're not going to actually do anything. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 305. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Devontae from Miami.
Devontae from Miami. What's on your mind?
Just want to speak briefly on what our brother said from the beginning, from Daytona. We were speaking on Governor DeSantis and getting those former cops to come back to the police force of course, how you went in on the guy from the chat about being jokeful. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not time to play. Not time to be cowardly. Because here in Miami, we went 7 weeks without any murders. Of course, other crimes too, but they focus on the murders. And
Miami always makes the first 48. The first 48 keep a film crew down there in Miami. So what I'm saying is right now crime has dropped to record levels because everybody is forced inside the house. And yet you're hearing folk talking about increasing the police force. Well, that can't be for the purposes of keeping law and order. You've never seen as much law and order as you're seeing right now. So why do you want more police on the streets right now unless this is for the purposes of targeting somebody? It can't be for the purposes of targeting criminals because the criminals ain't out doing what they do right now. They're waiting for the folk to start moving around so the money starts moving again so they can actually go grab some of it. So why do you need more police out there right now? What's the threat that is still out there? Because it's not, quote, criminals, and it's not, quote, looting. So what's the real threat that you're trying to go after right now? That you're like, right now we need more police to focus on the real threat. Well, what is it? It's not crime. So what are you trying to say? If we can catch one of you somewhere where it's open season. Oh, we ain't got enough police, deputize any white citizen. If we can catch you somewhere, this is the new law. This is the new way under the sun. And understand what I've told you all. Once they put this in place, it's going to be here long after your so-called quarantines have been lifted. I'll let you have the last word.
Exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I just wanted to add on because like that 7 weeks, they said that's the first time since 1957 that we went without a murder. And you covered a couple weeks ago about in Jacksonville of all the white people on the beaches. They're not putting the cops out for them; they're putting it out for us. So like I was saying, I agree and I appreciate you going in on those brothers that being cowardly or whatever, because it's not the time to play. It's not the time to be scared because you got white folks running up the governor's buildings with assault rifles, not doing a thing about it. So thank you.
But they're gunning down black folk in the street. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, you got white men going to the governor's office in Michigan, and Michigan's not the only state that they're doing that in, but they got their guns in tow, Confederate flags waving. There was another story about another couple of states where you see them waving their Confederate flags in states that either weren't Confederate states or weren't even part of the nation at the time. This virus is really bringing out the white supremacists. They're getting really bold about displaying their colors. You need to sit here and take notice of that. Yes, in places like Ohio, they've been waving their Confederate flags in places that either were not Confederate states or weren't even part of the damn Union. Why? Why are you doing that? Why do you want more police right now? What is it exactly that you're trying to do? And what they're saying is this government is not white supremacist friendly enough. We're here to break your will. Michigan, you saw what happened. They walked up to her place with the guns, and the governor said, okay, I can ease up on some of these restrictions then. They went up there with their guns, and she started backing down. Keep that in mind. Caller from area code 313. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling
from? Black first, Darius. My name is Darius from Detroit, Michigan.
Darius from Detroit. What's on your mind, brother?
Oh, man. I kind of got into your call a little late, but I just wanted to say that it's a mess up here in Detroit, Michigan. Not only are they out there with Confederate flags, they were out there with nooses, my brother.
We heard about that on the news. In Michigan. In Detroit.
Yes.
Detroit's an 80% black city. So they're letting you know, here's the problem. The problem is, once you get outside of Detroit, you got a few places where you have a black population, you know, Benton Harbor, Lansing, Dearborn. Yeah, you do have a few places with a black population. But right now, this is why I made my film Gentrified. This is about pushing back against the black population now. Flint, Michigan, yes. Now that they feel like they got you on the ropes. Because numerically in Detroit, you can't do anything about Detroit numerically. But you can get the state to basically isolate Detroit in those areas.
And that's exactly what they're demanding.
Take a look at what they did with Flint.
They're demanding that.
Take a look at what they did with Flint. They poisoned the water. Did they go in and rebuild the water system in Flint, Michigan? Hell no. They did. They poisoned the water. They destroyed the water system in Iraq, in post-war Germany, in post-war Japan. They went back in and rebuilt the infrastructure. Did they do that in Flint, Michigan? Nope. They poisoned the water, destroyed the water system, and left it where it is for you to wither on the vine and die. This isn't a joke. This isn't a game. They destroyed the water system. You got babies who have been born with all types of developmental disabilities now, clearly from lead in the water, clearly things that we clearly can see are a result of the water. Hell, you can't even bathe in that stuff. So they've isolated Flint. They've isolated Flint and cut it off from supplies. They've cut it off from any type of help. They haven't gone in and they destroyed the city and then didn't go in and rebuild the infrastructure. In Detroit, they've done that the same thing. They've done it economically. Pulled out all the big jobs, brought in a bunch of white employers who are only going to hire white yuppies. If you haven't seen my film Gentrified, you need to see that. It is just as timely today as it was when I made it a few years ago. If nothing else, is more accurate today, what we've been saying. So in Detroit, understand, Detroit is a symbolic thing. You all have to understand, Detroit is the town, it really is the town that Henry Ford built. So from a spiritual standpoint, they got to get y'all up out of there. Even if they can't dispossess you completely, they want to get you up out of there, at least from a power perspective. Economically, they want to preclude any possibility that you can have any type of viability going into the future. So it is very much about displacing you now, while they got you on the ropes now, before you ever actually think about getting your damn act together. We got to move, and we got to move on these Negroes quickly to isolate them across the board. Because I'm not.
And you know what? I'm proud to say. Hold on, my fault, Jason, for cutting you off. But I'm proud to say I was at the Gentrified event that you had in Detroit.
Good.
And I was there when the candidate running for mayor, Coleman Young Jr., got very upset. Was talking all that black empowerment stuff. I was right next to him during the event. We had a great conversation during the event. I thought he was a good brother until the tape stopped and he stood up, said that he was running for mayor, and he backtracked everything he said in my conversation, and I couldn't even respect the brother after that.
Detroit.
So we are surrounded by these ignoramuses.
Unfortunately, what has happened in Detroit, so much of that is self-inflicted wounds of black people in Detroit. I've been all over Detroit. You all know that already. You know, I've already Grosse Pointe.
Yes, sir.
Grosse Pointe and everything else. I was the guy who told the rest of Black America about Grosse Pointe. They didn't know. They saw it in a news article. I actually got the hell up and went up there. It's like driving through damn me Mayberry. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No. It's like a militarized Mayberry. Let me explain what I mean. For those of, brother, you know this, and the folks who live up there in Detroit know this, but everybody else doesn't know this. But what I'm about to say, you know I've been there. And when you head out of Detroit and go up there to Grosse Pointe, and when you make that left, so you can go around that new roundabout that they built, that they put there before you enter Grosse Pointe.
Yeah.
When you first enter up into the town there, you realize that when I went through there was a police SUV on every other corner. Now, it's only like one main street. I say main, there's only 2 lanes. But it's only one street that goes through the damn thing. And there was a police.
That's right.
It was only like, 6 or 7 blocks? It's not a big thing. When I say Mayberry, I meant what I
think
said.
It's actually 8 blocks.
Yeah, when I say Mayberry, I meant what I said. But there's a police SUV on every other corner just sitting there. Brother, I drove my ass up in there, made the second right I could, and was like, then they started following me. I can tell the tale now. They started following me. I was like, all right, let me turn my ass back around because I'm off in some foreign neighborhood with some big ass houses. But this is the perfect place for you to get Walter Scott. This is the perfect place for them to do a Walter Scott on you. So I'm like, all right, let me turn this Chevy Malibu around and get the hell on up out of here. Because it doesn't look like much until you turn off the main street out there. And then you realize, oh, this is a big ass neighborhood of old money with a police SUV. Yes. With police and SUVs on every other corner. Talk about damn me overkill. But it's not overkill.
Yes.
They are letting you know.
Except in all that riverfront property.
Okay, but this is how colonization works. You build the economy and then you need soldiers, guns to protect the economy. So my folk up there in Detroit, I ain't talking out of turn. I've walked the streets. I've lived that life. I've been up them roads. Now, by the way, when you turn back around and go back out Grosse Pointe, when you go to the other side of that street, where they got, you seen it in my film, they got where the Grosse Pointe Market is. They got like a hardware store or something like that at the corners and a vacant lot. But when you cross on the other side of the street, oh, that's where the black folk is. It looks like somebody dropped a nuclear bomb on it. You can't compare one side of the street to the other side of the street. It's like South Africa with the townships. It's like Brazil. It's like Rio de Janeiro. One side of the street is where the white folk are, and it's developed. The other side of the street is literally where the black folk are. You literally have to drive like a quarter of a mile before you get to the damn laundromat. And if you make a left, it's a bunch of bombed out, burned down houses. I got a ton of footage, people. I've got 8 or 9 hours of B-roll footage out of Detroit that I didn't even use in Gentrified. I've literally got 8 or 9 hours of extra footage. I just didn't use it. There was just so much to cover. It literally would have been like a bunch of snapshots, and I didn't really want to do that. I really wanted to focus on some things. So I focused on Flint. I did talk about Grosse Pointe, but I wasn't able to really focus as much as I wanted to. But y'all don't understand. They've already got them isolated up there. Now it's about choking you the hell out. Because it doesn't matter if you want to stay if there's nowhere to stay. If all of the new housing is, quote, luxury, high-income housing, it's only going to be a generation before all of you are going to have to leave because there will be no more, quote, affordable housing anymore. Not for you. Hell, they've already done it to downtown Detroit. Downtown Detroit, the gentrification of downtown Detroit is complete. It is done. It is over.
Mission accomplished.
Joe Louis Arena is closed. They opened up a new big-ass stadium arena to replace it. And I remember that feeling of, I don't want to say helplessness, but certainly despondency when I was down there on the Detroit riverfront. The Detroit River that separates Michigan from Canada. You can see the casinos and stuff in Canada right across the river. For everybody who's been downtown Detroit, right there behind the GM building, I got to get my bona fides, let you know I lived that life. I walked in roads, and I'm seeing black folk down there on the riverfront walking around, and I'm like, you niggas are squatters in your own city. The only difference between you and me is that I have a hotel room key that reminds me that I don't own anything. That's the only difference between me and the black folk down there. I'm serious. I've told this story before. There was a nigga, and I said it the way I meant it. There was a nigga on the damn jet ski with some loud ass speakers playing music. He looked like he was laid off from the auto plant. He was literally out there in the middle of the Detroit River, sailing around in front of it, right there in front of the General Motors Towers, on a jet ski trying to bump some music. I'm serious. I'm serious. I got it on video. No,
I know you're serious.
They're not roaming the streets doing it. He's on a damn jet ski with music blaring. As if that constitutes owning something. As if that's exerting dominance. All you're really doing, everywhere we go around America, is a bunch of niggas playing music loud, trying to distract themselves from where they really are. You're trying to tune out. Turn the damn music off and get back in touch with reality. Because when you get off that jet ski, there's literally nothing you own when you leave. They literally can grab your ass, throw you on the ground, put you in handcuffs, take your jet ski from you, and there won't be a damn thing you can do about it. Everything is calibrated towards escapism. So when I left that riverfront, I was like, yeah, here we go. I was like, it's over. I had to tell black folk in Detroit, it's over. Oh, yeah. And I bet you the traffic in Detroit, going into downtown Detroit, has never been better than it is right now. I bet you it's never been better. And I also said this in Gentrified, they're drawing down that population in Detroit. At one time, it was like 1 million people, and then they're predicting it's going to get to like 500,000. By now, it'll be within the next 5 or 6 years. And Detroit will be like a big-ass overbuilt suburb. Talk about depopulation. Yeah, they're gonna depopulate Detroit. They don't need vaccines. They don't need to round folk up. They're depopulating Detroit and don't have to round a single person up. That's how serious the situation is. But brother, I have to tell you, black folk in Detroit have been bull jiving. Black folk in Detroit been playing around. Niggas went up there to them plants and got jobs. They didn't build up any assets. They just wanted to get, quote, a house. Now you can't afford the house anymore. If you could, you can't afford to keep it. And if you can, your children can't afford to keep it. The children can't afford to keep a damn thing. You've got sports arenas in downtown Detroit. It's an 80% black city and the black folk can't go. You've got sports arenas that the majority of black folk can't even afford to go in. I haven't told this story before. When I was filming, I was there at Tiger Stadium. At the time, it's named after Comerica. I was there at Comerica Stadium. I'm having to remember all this because I don't live in Detroit. I know I make a lot of folks think I live in these places. I try to remember as much as I can because I want to know my people's condition.
Keep it going.
In Comerica Park, right across the street from that is the Fox Theater. For those of you who don't know this, Comerica Park is a big-ass parking lot, and then right across the street is the Fox Theater. I'm sitting there in Comerica Park, and I'm taking some nighttime footage of the Fox Theater. I got my crew of people with me. This white man comes up in a car, and I thought maybe he was private security because he's asking me, why we're there, and, talking about you can't be on the park grounds after dark and whatnot. And I said, okay. And I said, who do you work for? I said, do you work for the park? And he didn't say anything, and he rolled up his window and creeped off. So I got behind him with my camera and took a picture of his license plate. But by the way, this guy didn't work for the damn park. This was a random white male in the middle of downtown Detroit at 9 o'clock in the evening. Deputized himself to come and interrogate me about what me and my people are doing with tripods and cameras. You can see these tripods, you can see these cameras. We're in the middle of a parking lot. We're nowhere near the stadium. We're nowhere near Fox Theater. I'm standing square in the middle of a damn parking lot at 9 p.m. at night. They got the lights on. You can literally see me from a mile away random white male deputized himself. Now, I had 4 other folks with me. So he wasn't going to try it, but if I had been by myself, he might have tried it. He might have tried it, and he would have had another thought coming if that happened. I'd rather be tried by 12. I'll be tried by 12 before I'm carried by 6. But in any case, that's in the middle of downtown Detroit. A random white male deputized himself. So I know what's going on out there. I know what you're dealing with, and black folk as a group been bull jiving. So, brother, what it's probably going to take is a 50% drawdown of black people in Detroit till you get down to the group of folk who really, really take it seriously. When you get rid of the generation of black folk who are from that civil rights, I want a job at the plant era, you're going to have to get rid of a lot of them. So if the young folks see we ain't got a damn thing, we better get the hell up, get off the bull jive, and do for self. Integrationism and interracialism don't work. There is no plant for us to go and start cooning and butt dancing at. So we better get up and do for ourselves, and we better stick together. In my mind, there is no better example than to go into Greektown. And for those of you who don't know, Greektown is like a block away from the General Motors building. They got the Greektown Casino. If you saw my film Gentrified, you've seen it. And that right there shows you just how badly we dropped the ball. How the hell can it be an 80% black city? There's a Greek town literally in the middle of downtown Detroit. There's a Greek town casino, big as a skyscraper, literally with the words Greek town casino, and then got black folk talking about, but we can't say black town.
We got every town here but our town.
Okay, and we're 80% of the population. That was why when I did that interview with W90, whatever it is up there, they were talking about when we let them know we need a seat at the table. We just want a seat at the table. I had to come all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana, and tell them, no, it's not about getting, quote, a seat at the table. When are y'all going to realize that it's our damn table? How the hell are you going to give me a seat at my table? It's not about what you're going to give me. It's about what I'm going to give you because it's mine to give. It's not yours to give. As Suge Knight said, you can't give me nothing. It's about what I'm going to give you because this is my table. Imagine another place in America where 80% of the population is Jewish talking about we just want a seat at the table. 80% of the population is Asian. We just want a seat at the table. Go to Chinatown and try to tell them about, well, you know, we need to discuss you having a seat at the table. Them folks gonna look at you and sit at the table. Somebody better tell this guy Jin, this is our table. I know I'm mixing my Japanese and Chinese, but you get the point. Somebody better tell him this is our table. Would you like some fried rice at our table? But you can't give us anything. We're going to tell you what's going to happen at the table. So just understand, it's going to take a group of young, fed up black children, young, fed up black men and women in Detroit who are not going to follow in the pathetic, pitiful, failed, butt-dancing, bootlicking steps of their mothers and fathers in Detroit. That's what it's going to take. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, brother, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate you taking the time out to hear me out. And you will be hearing from me again because I definitely want to update you on the situation because I feel like it's going to go down here. Black first.
Black first, brother. Thank you for giving us a call here tonight. I've been to Mexican Town up there in Detroit, too. I went there also. I went to Greek Town. I went to Mexican Town. I've been there also. Can't tell me nothing. Let me get caller from area code 205. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from area code 205. Last try. You're on live. Okay, caller from 205 has been abducted. Let me get caller from area code 785. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Jason? How's it going? Steve from Overland Park, Kansas.
Steve from Kansas. What's on your mind?
Hey, just wanted to get your comments. Great show or great broadcast tonight. You were talking about how there's not going to be tanks in the streets. There's got to be another way to make this thing occur. As one person, I really wasn't scared of the virus, but I've got to admit these stimulus packages are literally insane. I just want to get your comments about it. All this money being pushed in the economy.
All what money?
Myself, I have a small business.
All what money? All what money? Who's getting, quote, all this money?
Well, I'm not talking about the personal stimulus package. I just need all the money.
I'm talking about that too.
To the small businesses. It's just amazing.
Yeah, well, but the money being given to the big corporations is even more amazing. The bottom line is that what the government is giving out right now is not really compensating people for what they're losing. And plus, it's going through all the big white banks to begin with. So we just put up a story that was released showing that 90% of black businesses are basically getting no benefit from these so-called stimulus packages. 90%.
Well, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is as you were saying before, there's not going to be tanks coming down the street. And what I'm saying, there's just, for certain people, if you're properly situated, there just is so much money being given out right now. My point is, it's actually, in my opinion, it's more frightening than the virus itself. How this is really happening. It's just amazing what's being doled out and how fast it's being done.
Well, there's money being given out, but it's not
at some point there's got to be a consequence for this.
There's money being given out. Okay, but my point is, there's money being given out, but not to us. You're already experiencing the consequences. There's no money being given out to us. That's my point I'm trying to make. You're already experiencing.
No, I'm actually agreeing. I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is there's got to be a consequence to this, and in my opinion, it's actually worse than the virus itself. It's actually far worse than the virus itself. The consequences of how this is going to affect the economy with so many businesses and so many people. I myself, that was literally where I probably spent the last 2 weeks, was getting everything in a place to get these loans and get these various things, and it's just frightening how much money is being given out, and what it's going to do to people who aren't situated to actually take advantage of it.
Okay, how can you be situated to take advantage of it, though?
Well, you have to have number one, you have to have a business in some respect, whether it be small or not. You have to have something on that level.
Okay, brother,
that's and there are people who.
But brother, that's my point.
No, it's not.
That's my point. My point I've been making is, no, it doesn't matter if you're a black business. It doesn't matter if you're a black business. That's the point I've been making. You're saying, you kept saying, you got to situate yourself. I'm sitting here telling you, no, situate yourself all you want to. I'm just posting a link in the chat room with the link to the story from CBS News. Up to 90% of, quote, minority and women owners shut out of the Paycheck Protection Program. No, they're talking about black folks.
Yeah, it was
talking about black folks.
It was very clear that the banks were.
There is no situating yourself.
The banks were paying favors. Yes.
There's no situating yourself. There is no, well, if I do this or that. There is no situating yourself. Right now, they're taking advantage of this to squeeze out black businesses and as much as you can to devastate them. Hell, they could wipe out 70% of the wealth of black businesses in just a couple of months right now, because usually they're sole proprietorships, so they've got less than 10 employees. So white businesses, this is a bad situation. But for black businesses, having to close the doors for 30 days or whatever is the kiss of death if you don't get some resources. And so you're showing up for resources and they're not there. You can't position yourself. Well, if you own a business, brother, they got businesses. They're not getting it. They're not getting it. That's the problem we're running into. So we're not on our way to it. We're already there. When they reopen things back up, it's going to be a hell of a road to hoe in this situation. And I'm predicting in certain places you're going to see the black businesses disappear altogether. That's what I'm predicting you'll see. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? Great show. This is Dr. Hawkins. I am from Houston, residing in Atlanta. Look, man, a lot of folk aren't going to believe it, because, like you said, they have on these type of willful blinders. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm one of the black business owners that did get some of the stimulus packages for business. And I was on the call with President Trump about a month ago. I woke up on a Friday and literally had an email from the White House inviting me to a call with Donald Trump. So I was on the call. I recorded most of it, right? And here's the thing. I'm looking for my... And I'm going to speak this in code in the beginning. Black people, we better wake the hell up. We are on a grand chessboard, man. This is not checkers. This is not checkers. And
let me find out something here, brother.
Well,
let me tell you. Let me ask some questions here first. What type of business do you run?
Well, I run a commercial and industrial water purification company. We're the only black-owned in America, that deals with industrial and commercial levels of water purification, that builds its own equipment. They politically kept me out of Flint. In 2015, I got recorded conversations from politicians that you wouldn't believe, right, from back then. And that there was a movie, gentlemen, called Three the Hard Way. It came out, I believe, back in the 70s or whatnot. It told you what was going to happen in Flint, Michigan. Hell, the movie took place in Detroit.
Well, let me find out here. How many employees do you have?
Well, not many. We have 8 total.
That's fine. Okay, you got more than 5 employees, and so you're saying
well,
brother, let me find out some information here first. You said that you did get some funds from the stimulus for that. Here's my question, though. My question is, does that actually compensate for what you would have been getting had your business been open during this time?
Well, it's kind of hard to tell. But what I will say is this. We lost more collectively. It's not about what I get individually. Because if they poison another city, to say, for example, like Atlanta's water supply, what the hell are we going to do about it? They just did it to Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey's lead problem is way worse than Flint. And it's been that way for a couple of years and nobody's talking about it. They followed the exact same blueprint. So my dilemma is this, okay? I only know 2 other black-owned water bottling companies in America. There's a total of 3 of us, to my awareness, that's doing it on a big scale. And even we don't have enough bottled water to cover everybody. So at some point, we're going to have to get serious about this whole gentrification thing and exactly who the hell is trying to kill us, man. Let's just be honest. Somebody's trying to kill us, and we better start acting like it.
Well, here's my thing about it, brother.
We need to start acting like it.
Here's my thing about it. Black folk as a group, and we have to be honest with ourselves at this point right now. As a group, black folk have been cowardly. Black people have been running. Black people have been desired. The truth of the matter is, black folk have been looking for a plantation master to whore ourselves out to bed winch ourselves out to bed buck ourselves out to. And the problem that folk are running into is there ain't nobody to do it with anymore. There's nobody to whore yourself to. There's nobody to bed winch yourself to anymore. And black folk are furiously running around trying to figure out, is there one more? Is there one more I can find? Just one more. One more. No, there's no more. So you're obsolete. You're in the way. Not enough resources to go around. They voted you off the island. That's the problem that we're running into.
Well,
so I'm very glad about your business, but I want you to understand, most black folk are not going to listen until you turn off the water, cut off the food, shut down the cell phone. Most black folk ain't going to listen until it gets there. I want you to take care of your business.
Man. I've been trying to tell them.
Okay, I want you to take care of your business. I want you to take care of your business. I want you to keep your business stable. I want you to get plenty of customers, whether they're black or otherwise. You're probably going to have to deal with just white folk. And I understand that. I want you to take care of your business and keep it stable. As far as black folk as a group, right now, brother, the bottom line is a lot of black folk have decided to get active about this and get sensible. Barack Obama is in hiding because black folk are not really giving him big ups like that anymore. But this is just the beginning. That grassroots taking this seriously at the city level, the local level, this grassroots understanding that we have to stand up for we at those local levels, that we have to promote and propagate businesses like yours. We have to financially, economically, socially, and if need be, physically protect them. That's what we have to understand at the local level, because we focus so much on national, and that's nice and everything. But I want you to understand, it's not about water. Very glad that you're an expert on water. That's great. It's good. But this is so much bigger than water, believe it or not. And really, right now, I think one of the worst things that can happen is if everything, quote, goes back to normal. Brother, I don't want things to go back to normal. I don't. I'm the guy telling you all, I don't want things to go back to normal. Normal was John Lewis. Normal was Elijah Cummings. Normal was bootlicking and buck dancing. Normal was cell phoning and twerking. Normal was ass shaking and bastard baby making. Normal was cowardice. I don't want to ever go back to, quote, normal. Right now, we have a real opportunity to make things change because it's damned abnormal. Normal was what was killing us. Right now, I want abnormal as a son of a gun. And that's the only way that businesses like yours are going to come out of this better for it. I'm hoping that they gave you enough that, it's going to hold things over until whatever gets back, as far as your business gets back up and going again. Have you actually experienced any interruptions in business right now, or how has this virus affected your actual business?
No, but this is what I'm saying. Okay, now there's some information that has to get out to the people. There are not many black scientists in America. Okay, period. I'm one of them. And I'm trying to tell you guys some good information. Now, if you said it wasn't about water, I respectfully disagree.
Okay, brother.
Because you're not going to do
stop.
without water for long.
Okay, brother, stop for a moment. Pump your brakes. How old are you?
Man, you know what? You're not going to give me a chance to talk. And people like you are the reason why we're declining. Stop, man.
Okay. I just wanted to find out how old you are. Because I'm asking questions and I'm not getting answers, and he wants to pontificate about the black scientists and we need more water businesses. Okay, we got that. We understood that. Can we discuss about the money? I want to talk about the money, and he's trying to talk about something else. I'm like, hey. Well, he hung up the phone. That's okay. I don't want to sit here and prison babble about we need more scientists. I don't want to talk about that. We already know we need more scientists. That's a long-term thing. I'm talking about the here and now. I don't want some nigga that got claims to have a business. So I was on a call with President Trump. Okay, that and $25 to get your cab ride across town, assuming the cabs are still running. This isn't an opportunity for you to sit here and try to impress us about your knowledge about science while you're standing in the middle of the living room floor in your underwear. I'm talking about the money. I want to know about that. And he doesn't want to talk about how much he supposedly got. I asked about that and he don't want to say nothing. Did it help your business? Well, another thing we can do is, wait a minute though, how has your business been affected? Well, we need plenty of scientists. Okay, at best, you sound like you're horribly misguided, unfocused, and at worst, you sound like a liar. I'm not sure which one you are. But brothers and sisters, when you turn the conversation back to the money, remember what I taught you all. When you ask somebody about numbers, and the very next thing that comes out of their mouths is about words, yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem. My people don't need to hear you sit up here and self-congratulate yourself and try to act like you're an authority on water and science. We got it. The water's messed up. We understand. Right now, it just sounds like you want to sit up here and try to impress us like the damn unemployed deacon at the church. I don't care about your knowledge about the Bible. I really don't. I asked you about economics, and you want to tell me about Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6. I'm not here for some old civil rights nigga to try to impress me. You really don't. And by the way, do you see that he got upset when I asked him how old he was? Because you know where that's going now, don't you? Notice he got upset when I asked, how old are you? You got to understand, niggas love to sit around and hear themselves talk. Well, I ain't no broad. I ain't no broad. I don't want to hear another man sit up here and prattle on. First of all, that doesn't impress the females. Second of all, it doesn't impress me. I don't want to hear another grown man sit up here and ramble on about accomplishments or his opinions that I didn't ask him for. But let me tell you about the scientists. I mean, folks don't understand. There's a big issue going on out here. No, you got to understand. It's about the water. I mean, it's about the water. And let me, okay, dude, I understand you're working water. You're really geeked about water. I understand that. You're really a water geek. I got it. You're a water geek. We need to talk about this money. Really, it ain't about the money neither, though. I mean, it's not about the money. It's not about the water. You need to understand, you say it's not about the water, but it is. You have to listen to me. How old are you? See, that's the problem right there. You ain't gonna let me. Yeah, that's the problem right there. You don't respect your elders. That's the problem. You don't want to let us sit here and talk, let us sit here and ramble on. No, I don't want some nigga rambling on me. No, you're right. I don't. You're damn right. I do not want some old ass nigga rambling to me. You're damn right. I don't. My folk don't need to hear no more old niggas sitting on the phone with the president and then coming back to us and rambling. Okay, guess what? I ain't got water problems down here. I really don't. Let me talk to you about the water. Man, look here. Let me talk to you about hanging up this phone. Caller from area code 713. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Terrence from Houston.
Terrence from Houston, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I've been listening to you for 5 years now. And the one thing about listening to you, you will get smarter, right? But the thing that I'm confused about, which one's more important? Having a greater population in one area or having an economy?
Economy. If you've listened to me for any real length of time, you already know that.
Well, and I have been listening to you. So if we getting starved out the economy, how do we pull ourselves up with our bootstraps?
Wait. You sound familiar.
Yes, sir. You see,
I know that voice.
Yeah, it's distinct.
I know that voice from that place. I think you're going to educate us about, quote, how the Latinos own everything in a city that actually is not a suburb.
I never said they own everything. Never said that. I said that they're making moves. There's a difference.
The city of Pasadena, not the suburb of Pasadena. The city of Pasadena.
Well, these when they have these cities around Houston, that's another way of redlining. That's it. But they all connected to Houston. Right. They're all like they all drive in and they all drive into Houston to work.
Yep.
This is how it works here.
There you go.
All I'm saying, black people, y'all need to come to Houston and Dallas. That's my Michigan.
Now
All of y'all come here.
You notice that Jewish people never call Jews to go anywhere except Israel. Y'all ever notice that?
What's that have to do with anything, dude? We're in America. What's that have to do with anything?
Jews in America.
they got money. They got an economy. They got an economy all over the world. They usually doing the hiring.
Jews in America
they usually hire people.
Jews in America do that.
But they have money and they hire people. What's that have to do with anything? We have no money.
They don't have to call everybody. No, they don't have to call everybody to one place to set up an economy. One Jewish doctor.
Because they have money. And they have the government giving them money from several different governments.
Dude, now you're just stupid. Now you're just stupid. Okay. Hang up the phone.
So they're not getting money from government. They're not getting money from government. They're not giving money. Are they getting money from government? Yes or no? Yes or no? White people are not getting money. We're not getting money.
Pick up the mollies.
We're not getting money from any place, so we have to go to some place that have an economy, and we have to live off that economy.
The problem that we have is that old niggas, dumb niggas like yourself, you don't actually have anybody who would ever actually listen to you. And because there's nobody who would actually listen to you, you call up programs like mine. There's no woman who's listening to you. There's no woman who has to pay her monthly bills listening and following your, quote, leadership. So failed niggas like you call up programs like mine because I'm not a failure. But you know why I'm not a failure? Because I'm in the real damn world. So failed niggas call up with your nonsense. This was the jackass from last week who called in saying that Pasadena, Texas was a suburb of Houston. Remember him? Pasadena is a suburb of Houston. And then you can Google it and see, no, it's a city. Now he's back. Well, it don't really matter. Can you imagine a female following his leadership? He can't even follow a damn map. Can you imagine a female attempting to follow his leadership? He can't even lead her to the city of Pasadena. He literally can't do that. But he wants to jump on my phone to an audience that I've acquired because he can't acquire one, because every time he opens his mouth, people in real life can see what a brain dead lame he is. He's got to come here and try to talk to my audience because there's nobody listening to him. And this type of stupidity is precisely the reason they're not listening to you. They never have, and they never will. He's going to be an old-ass man running around Houston. Black folk, y'all need to come down to Houston. Nigga, I used to live in Dallas, Texas. I go there, well, up until they started quarantining folk from Louisiana, until they started barring us. Go there at least once a month, once every other month. You're not going to educate me about Dallas or Houston. It's not a matter of black folk gathering together in one place. If you got a Jewish doctor, he's the representative, whether it's Montana or Yonkers. He's the representative. He doesn't need 1,000 other people. Black folk are always trying to figure out something to do other than getting the resources together and getting on code. Everybody's trying to figure out what can we do other than that. So he's presenting you with something that you can't actually do. Brothers, do you all realize right now? Oh, let me hang up on his ass. Get out of here. Folks, do you realize that 10,000 people a month? I told you all about this study 2-3 years ago. 10,000 people a month are coming from California and relocating to Texas. 10,000 people a month. Those ain't black folk moving from California to Texas. And that's just California, that's not counting New York, Florida, Louisiana, 10,000 people a month are moving from California to Texas. Those are white folk. Do you think we have enough black folk to counter that? You think that black folk need to, if we all, quote, move to Houston and Dallas, you got a majority black population in Houston. What kind of mayor did you choose? What kind of mayor did you pick in that heavily black city, should I say? What type of mayor did you pick? You're gonna, black folk need to gather in one. This is more of that damn black folk need to get together. Black folk need unity. Black folk need to get together and no, nigga, we don't. We don't need to have a march. We just need to get on code. We just need to get on code. That's all. Everybody else, they don't need to gather together in one place. This nigga is talking as if this is this is post-antebellum slavery. Because understand, he doesn't want to discuss becoming economically viable on his own.
60 seconds.
He doesn't want to talk about that. That's the part he wants to stay away from. I don't want to talk about that. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. I don't want to hear about that. That ain't going to work. We need to figure out how to, get together. I need all the black folk in America. Y'all all need to come to Houston and Dallas. All the black folk came to Atlanta. How'd that work out for us? How'd that work out? How did that work out for black people? Everybody, quote, getting together and coming to Atlanta. How'd that work out for us? Think that over for a few moments here before you hear somebody regurgitating the same old failed crap. Let me get caller from area code 510. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is Russell from Oakland, California.
Russell from Oakland, what's on your mind?
Well, I've been listening to the previous callers, especially the last one, and we as black men have to get shit together. Excuse my language. I just came back from Florida last night, and it's like we're in the same position from coast to coast.
Well, let me ask you about that. Stop. Let me ask you that. Where are you at right now?
Oakland. I just came back from Florida. I'm in Oakland now.
Okay, so you flew in.
Yes, I flew back in from Florida.
How was your experience flying out of Florida? Did they hit you with the papers, please? What did they do? Did they make you go to that website and sign up? Or how was that experience leaving?
Well, the experience was really strange. I actually had a stopover in Dallas, Texas, believe it or not. And actually had the state police out on my way into Florida. They had state police out. As soon as I got off the plane, they asked me where are you going? Are you planning to stay in Texas? If you're going to stay in Texas, after a 14-day quarantine, yada, yada, yada. Let me see your boarding pass.
Okay, whoa, stop. Let me make sure we keep this straight here. Are you saying that you were flying from Florida to California, but you had to do a layover in Dallas?
Yeah, well, I flew from California to Florida 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the layover on my way to Florida.
Okay, well, stop.
And then I just came back in.
All right, I got it now. You were going from California to Florida, but you had to stop in Texas on the way to Florida.
Correct.
Okay, in Texas, when you had the layover, how long was the layover?
DFW.
How long was the layover approximately?
Probably 2 hours.
Okay, so you had to actually get off the plane. In some layovers, you don't have to actually get off it.
Yes.
Anyway, you have to actually get off the plane.
No.
Okay. When you got
Had to
off,
get off
okay,
the plane,
brother,
switch gate,
brother,
and
we got
get to another plane.
Okay, just yes or no for right now, because we're gonna run out of time, and I don't want to lose your call. When you unboarded the plane, deboarded the plane, are you saying that there were state police at the end of the ramp or at the end of the walkway as you all were coming through the tunnel? Were they there asking you how long you're going to be staying? Where were they exactly?
At the gate as you got off the runway, getting off the plane, because I was the last person off the plane.
Okay, so there were state police. There were state police There were state police at the end of the tunnel as you deboarded the plane, asking you how long you were going to be in Texas.
Yes, at the gate. Correct.
So basically, I mean, acting like the airport staff, basically, is welcome to Texas. We sent the state police Gestapo at the end of the runway. Let me see your papers, please. Did they ask you for ID?
That's exactly what they did. No, they didn't. Just your boarding pass. But there were 3 on one side, 2 on the other, and it was pretty intimidating. But I kind of expected it.
So there were 5. There were 5 police at the gate when you all deboarded the plane from California.
Correct, and they were going from gate to gate. So as soon as I got off the plane, the flight crew got off the plane. They went to another gate.
So they
heard on the radio.
So they couldn't just have. So they couldn't just have one of them. They had to have 5 of them there.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
Now I'm trying to slow you. I'm trying to slow you down because I want the folk who have not gone through this or seen this, because you're the first person I've been able to talk to about this, because a lot of us are not even traveling right now, but they wanted to get your. I mean, for exactly what's happening to you right there, because anything can damn well happen. Remember Oscar Grant? He got surrounded by 5 police. So you had your boarding pass. Did they take a picture of your boarding pass or something?
No, they just looked at it, looked at me, and they said, "Okay, well, you're not staying here. Thank you, sir." And they walked off to the next gate.
But they did want to see your boarding pass.
They saw everybody's boarding pass. Yes, everybody. So I saw the lady in front of me, and they checked hers too.
All right. When you moved on, were there any complications getting back on the plane when you were heading to Florida?
Actually, no. There was nobody at the gate checking, asking questions. And what's interesting is when I got to Florida, Tallahassee specifically, all they had was a table asking you to sign in, just see where you're coming from. There was nobody, no person at the table, no officials, no police, nobody. Just said sign up. If you're going to be in Florida, you have to have coming from Louisiana, Detroit, what's the other city? Oh, New York tri-state area, and Atlanta, Georgia. You have to sign in and quarantine yourself for 14 days. That's it. Now, this is the state capital, Tallahassee.
Okay, so
nobody was at the table.
Okay, so you're going to Tallahassee, and when you got off the plane, there were not police to greet you there.
None at all.
Okay,
None. I don't know where they went.
What time did you get to Tallahassee?
Probably about 6 p.m.
Okay, you got there about 6 p.m. But when you got to Tallahassee, there were not police there, but there were police at the at DFW in Texas.
Yes, they were.
Now,
and there was teams of them too. So that team went to another gate. Another team passed by. As I was waiting, I saw 3 or 4 teams of state police.
Okay, and that's at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport.
Yeah, DFW.
What carrier were you on?
American.
Okay, American. So what was that like? D terminal or E terminal? I forget which one it is. American's terminal is either D or E.
I think the B. I think B terminal.
Okay.
I was on the B terminal.
Because DFW is American's hub. So you're right. They do have more than gates. D terminal or E terminal, they will rebuild it. I gotta go back out there and go check sometime and go make sure. I usually don't have time to go be certain about that, and they keep changing stuff. But in any case, now when you left Florida, was there any similar type of situation there? Did you have another layover somewhere, or did you just go straight from Florida to back to California?
Ironically, I had a same layover back in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Did you have the same experience with that layover?
There was no state police to be found.
Okay, this time
And here's the crazy part.
Okay.
The crazy part is there were no state police. The airport was probably at about another 30 to 40% more people inside the terminal. And this was the B terminal and the A terminal.
Okay, let me say that one more time so I can make sure I understand what you're saying.
Okay. On my return trip, my layover in Dallas Fort Worth, there was no state police checking your boarding pass at the gate. They were all gone. Like somebody called them off. In addition to that, there's probably 30 to 40% more passengers inside the terminals. So it's picking back up in Dallas Fort Worth, I should say. And it was strange, very strange.
Well, my real thing about it, though, is we will see if they are done doing that, because I know they said they were lifting those restrictions. And my thing about it is they might not be messing with people at the airports. My concern is that all those state police are not at the airport anymore. They're back out on the freeways. They're back on the freeways.
Probably.
They're back out on the highways. They're back out looking for black folk with Louisiana and Georgia license plates. Not white folk now. They're looking for black folk with Louisiana and Georgia license plates. So I find that to be very interesting there. I would have in Florida, I didn't think they were going to stop you all when you got there, because they clearly showed they got all their people out on 95 and 10. But in Texas, like I say, that's really intimidating for them to do that, but that's the reason. That's the whole reason.
Yeah, it looked like the Gestapo, literally, like it was World War II and SS was running around. It was definitely an eye opener. Been expecting something like that, in different areas I travel to, but to actually see it is definitely an eye opener. I would say just for black people in general, especially brothers calling up, get your stuff together. I mean, you've been saying the right thing. I've been listening to you for the last 2.5 years. Actually, I was kind of upset when I first was introduced to you, talking about Oakland, actually. And it turns out, after doing some investigation and information seeking on my own, it turns out you were right. And I have to say, it's extremely informative. To continue to listen to you and keep up with your work, brother, because we need this bad. Just by listening to the callers that you've had, put specifically the one before me and the other two before me. We got to get our shit together, man. This is, as black men, there's no reason why we can't build the economy now. And as you say, if the Jews can do it, and they don't even work that hard, if the Jews can do it, the Asians can do it, the Hispanics can do it, all these other races can do it. Come on, man. We've been here 400 or 500 years. No reason why we can't get our shit together, step up, and, become the real black man we should be, and actually build our economy, build our politics, and build our nation. Too many people have been saying the same thing for the last 100 years. It's time to stop bullshitting, get it together.
We can't accept any more excuses. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yes, there are odds against us, and yes, there are headwinds against us. But our job is to overcome those. Our job is to overcome those. I've always said, one of these years, one of these centuries when we've overcome white supremacy, our great-great-great-grandchildren are going to look back at the last 150 years. They're going to take a look at how dumb, how weak, how fragile, how inarticulate and unintelligent the white supremacists talk about in the 21st century, talking about cannibalism, talk about regressing to your roots. Remember the Dark Ages. Talk about regressing to your roots. 21st century, he's not talking about farming. Alex Jones wasn't talking about farming as a solution to hunger. Did you get that? Alex Jones did, after all these centuries of agricultural development and innovation, he wasn't talking about the first thing I'll do is start a farm. He said the first thing I'm going to do is start eating y'all. Now, who in the hell reverts to that after you've been going to the grocery store your entire life? The first thing he thinks of doing isn't growing food, the first thing he thinks of doing is turning another human being into the number 3 at Popeyes. Think about that for just a few moments. He's letting you know, by the way, things ain't even bad yet, but I got me a taste. But I really got a taste for some man right now. Is what I really got a taste for that. And I've been consulting Jeffrey Dahmer's cookbook. Think about that for just a few moments. Remember Tyson Fury? 720 degrees of the analysis you can receive nowhere else. What did Tyson Fury do in the ring with Deontay Wilder? He couldn't even have a damn boxing match. He couldn't do that. As soon as he had the opportunity, he said, I can't help myself. I can't help it. It was like the scene from Finding Nemo. For those of you who never saw the movie Finding Nemo, do you all remember that scene where he was with the sharks? They had their Sharks Anonymous where they were promising not to eat other fish. And then there was a little bit of blood in the water, and the one shark, he wasn't fully reformed, and he smelled the blood, and he was like, oh, he smells tasty. And he started chasing Nemo. He's telling his friends, just a bite. I can't make it. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I got to eat him. That was Tyson Fury. Who the hell does that? I mean, y'all talked about Mike Tyson biting Holyfield's ear. It wasn't like he bit Holyfield's ear and then pulled out a knife and a fork and got some damn steak sauce. Tyson Fury interrupted the damn boxing match to take a lunch break. I haven't seen females lick on a dude like that. Folks, I haven't seen females lick on a man like that. You think these folks are playing? These aren't old civil rights era hillbilly, beer belly, white supremacists running around. These are able-bodied ones. Soon as they get a hint of blood, oh, I'm on ya. Damn Whataburger, I got a neighbor. Let me munch on him. I've been denying these inner urges for years now. Finally got an opportunity. What you mean? He said, I would eat you like corn on the cob. Hey, Alex, I've got a suggestion for you. How about, I don't know, you actually grow some corn on the cob. Then you ain't got to eat nobody. He said, damn that. I would much rather hunt you down. And by the way, if you're going to go hunt down the neighbors, Alex is a gamesman. He's been outdoor hunting before. Go get you a deer, Alex. Damn the deer. Bring me a man. I've been denying this urge too long. Who's the Satanist? Who's the occultist? Think that over for a few moments. Who's the Satanist? Who's practicing the occult? The globalist or the guy talking about, you know what? If I can't get a square meal in 36 hours, I'm ready to go purge. I'm ready to do that. Any black folk who live within 10 miles of Alex Jones, I'm just telling you, if you go to the grocery store and the shelves are bare, you better watch out if you hear, "Hey, anybody in there? Alex Jones outside. Hi. Can I get a cup of sugar? I mean, you might not have a cup of sugar, but can I use your phone, please?" All right, Alex, I might let you use the phone, but why'd you bring the A1 steak sauce, though? If you want to use the phone, why did you bring the A1 steak sauce? That's all I'm asking. Oh, no, I was in the middle of cooking something. Sorry, I just couldn't put it down. Damn. Your wife looks real juicy. I bet she tastes like ham. Caller from area code 919. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, sir. This is Reggie. I'm calling from Snellville, Georgia.
Reggie from Snellville, Georgia. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I had a couple of questions. I know you're into this trucking and everything, but I'm epileptic, and I was wondering if you thought that like HVAC was a good trade I could take.
Sure.
Or, excuse me?
Yes. Long story short.
It is? Okay. Okay. And I was wondering, what would you suggest for somebody to do with their stimulus check instead of, spending crazy?
Okay, if you don't already have good financial practices, a stimulus check isn't going to help. That's the problem. A stimulus check isn't going to help. A stimulus check isn't going to help a person who's financially irresponsible any more than a diet is going to help a person who overeats. We can give you the menu, but you're doing too damn much. So the bottom line is, if you didn't, brother, what are you going to do with $1,200? I mean, just seriously, when the bills haven't stopped. So seriously, what can people do with this? So the real thing is, right now, folks need to just accept you are in more trouble than $1,200 is going to get you out of it. You need a plan. You don't need $1,200. You need a plan and a skill set. The $1,200 is only going to be useful to somebody who has a skill set and an agenda. Otherwise, you might as well go and take it to Domino's Pizza.
Yeah. Well, I am a barber. I just was trying to go and get another trade.
Yeah, because you found out real quick, being a barber is a discretionary occupation.
It sure is. It sure is. It's making this whole COVID-19 thing is making me reevaluate my situation. I love cutting hair. I feel like doing it, but I feel like I should get something else.
Didn't I talk to you before?
Yes, sir. You have.
Yes,
I think it's like my third time calling.
Yeah, I talked to you a while ago, didn't I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I talked to you.
I mean, I've probably been listening to you for about 5 years.
I talked to you a while ago, and I advised you then that there was nothing you could do with that barber's license, and it was time back then to make a change. What in the hell did you do in all this time?
I've been trying to perfect my my craft, and
even after I told you all this time ago, I told you to drop this back then. It's got to be at least 6 months or a year since I talked to you.
It's been longer than that.
Brother, you could have.
When you talked to me about that was probably about 3 years ago.
You could have been in and out of HVAC school, plumbing school, carpentry school, and truck driving school. You could be the most certified nigga in Georgia.
I'm epileptic, so I can't do the truck driving thing.
Okay, that's not going to stop you from carpentry, plumbing, electrical work. You can do all that just fine. Epilepsy ain't going to stop that.
Yes, sir.
By the way, do you own a car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can't drive a truck, but you can drive a car. Nigga.
Well, I don't think it's
I mean, I can drive my way, but as far as long distance trips and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm thinking that's a good.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you. You keep cooking up these excuse burgers. You tell me how full your stomach gets. Because if you ain't noticed, ain't nobody carving out any damn stimulus programs for black males. I talked to you a while ago. You've had every opportunity to do something in the last few years. You done waited until the damn economy has been shut down and then talking about, well, Jason, what can you do for me? Bruh, I hope it works out. But right now, the Miss Meal cramps starting to get a hold of you. You're like, what can I do? What about the stimulus check? No, then Miss Meal, like I said, y'all, white supremacy is going to do the work. We ain't got to do anything. If y'all haven't been listening, you've had 3 years. This is the other side of that thing I tell folk about. I am the only program anywhere that goes into withering detail with black people. If the folks who listened for the last month, they've been calling me up saying, Jason, thank you so much. Even for stuff I didn't want to hear, you got me prepared and straight. In the middle of a pandemic, the information that you gave me, that other folk were trying to tell me wasn't going to do nothing. Truck driving is held steady. IT is held steady. Plumbing and carpentry is held steady, even in the middle of quarantines. I'm not telling you all what I think. I'm telling you what I know. Everybody who ain't listened, Jason, can you help me out now? Brother, I hope you got time. So, no, you don't have to worry about truck driving. Don't worry about that. But right now, it doesn't matter what it is. If you ain't going to get up and do it, what's the point? Well, I'll do HVAC. That's good. That's a good start. It's going to take you about 6 months to be done with that, though.
I think it's 11 months. Yeah, 11 months.
Well, to get your basics.
And then the electrician
it's going to
thing,
take you even longer.
I like that.
It's going to take you even longer, actually, because you're going to then need to be good at it. And you're not going to be good at it until you get experience. And getting the experience part is where the hard part comes in. So what I would tell you is you ain't got a second to waste. I would get started quick, fast, and in a hurry. You don't have a minute to waste.
Well, I'm enrolling tomorrow.
You're enrolling on a Sunday.
Fortis. No, I mean, not Sunday. I'm sorry, Monday.
Already screwed up.
Monday.
All right. I'll let you have the last word.
Oh, that's it.
Okay.
Black first.
What do you want me to do? Huh? What do you all want me to do? You tell me what you're looking for me to do. You wanted reliable information, you got it. What are you looking for from me? What are you expecting from me? Am I supposed to grab everybody who calls in and drag them? No, these other people are giving you theoretical guesstimations. I'm giving you solid advice. I've been out there in the world. I have been and am an employer. I've dealt with corporations, how economics move. I see the stuff that working in corporate America, the stuff that never got shut down. No matter how bad anything was going, we needed the electricians, whether it was a profitable year or a loss year. We needed plumbers, whether it was a profitable year or a loss year. We needed the truck drivers, whether it was a profitable year or a loss year. We needed IT and CPAs and engineering, whether it was a profitable year or a loss year. I can show you and tell you, no, you're trying to go on something where my heart sings, I want to be a musician. Nigga, you better get you a certification and then go get your record deal. Well, I really want to be a barber. Man, this is some backwater nigga stuff you talking about. He wants to wait until the hour of darkness is descended. He's had 3 years to listen to me. 3 straight years. And by the way, there's a reason that they call me the authority. We done had 2 callers tonight, both of which didn't tell me that I talked to them before. And I was like, yeah, I've talked to you before, actually, and I remember what we talked about. I'm a barber from Snellville. Yeah, I remember you. I also remember I told you to stop doing that because you're going to be left helpless. I ain't worried about I hear you, Jason. I hear you. He gave me that crap you give him hoes. He gave me that crap that he gives them hoes. All right, baby, I'm going to do that. All right, I'm going to do that. All right. Okay. No, if you listen to the Black Channel, you will hear a perfect microcosm of exactly what's happened to us as Black people. I'm not one of these folk who's trying to guess his way through life about this stuff. If I were, somebody would have been able to disprove me and debunk me a long damn time ago. Let me tell you something else. Exactly that type of call, that's the reason why Black folk who make a bunch of money don't really feel it's worth their while to come back and try to lift up other Black folk who haven't gotten up as high, because they're like, hell, we could give them the information. I can give them the damn job. Can you force them to show up? Can you force them to show up? They claim they want mentoring. They claim they want information. They claim they want help. Okay, take a look what they did when you gave it to them. Take a look what they do if I give it to him. What's he going to do with it? He didn't like what he heard when I said you got to give up being a barber. That ain't going to do nothing for you. It has no future. It's too easily disposable. Now it's been disposed of, and he's calling me back saying, what can I do with this $1,200 stimulus check? Nigga, buy a pair of shoes. That's what you've been doing. Buy a pair of shoes. What you gonna do with $1,200 and no skills? What you gonna do? What do you all want me to do? Am I being too harsh now? Am I being too rough now? Am I being too abrasive now? Is it too hard here, Jason? You ain't helping folks. Well, you need to be nicer about it. Am I being nice enough now? So you're going to condemn me if I jump on people for not moving, but you're also going to condemn me if I say, hey, nothing we can do for you now. So I'm just going to be wrong either way it goes. Play that little game with yourself. Play that little game with yourself. You're now seeing both sides of the equation. I created the Black Channel a decade ago because I already made most of these mistakes, and most of you have been lied to by the entire society around you, starting with your parents and your schools and the clergy and the media. I went through all of those hard knocks. I suffered all of those injuries to come back and tell you, here's the applicable, practical, usable information that I wish somebody would have drilled into me when I was at your point. Get on it now. But my mama said that hoe don't know nothing. But my daddy said that nigga don't know nothing. But my teacher said, I'm not talking about them. I'm out here in the real world. What they're telling you is obsolete or false. If everybody who has listened to me is calling you all up in the middle of the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression and telling you all, Jason, thanks to your advice, I'm doing okay. Oh, yeah, and I didn't charge them nothing. So you can't say that there was some financial motive for me. If what I was saying was false, you'd be hearing a bunch of black folks saying, Jason, I did what you said down here in Snellville, Georgia. I did what you said, and it didn't work out for me. You all have never heard anybody say that. I'm not tooting my own horn right now. I'm saying to you, if your mothers and your fathers didn't give you the game and didn't tell you some applicable stuff and told you you can just explore your personality and your sexuality, and don't worry, the Lord will provide. I'm here to tell you a skill set's what you need. And you better get serious, because when they turn things off, you're going to be left destitute. Here we are. So that brother, he called me up years ago. I gave him the game. It's not that it didn't work. He just didn't do it. But I can tell you what he probably been doing. If I remember him correctly, he got some kids. If I remember him correctly, he's got some kids. If I remember right, he got some kids, and I bet you he ain't stopped chasing them hoes in the last 3 years. So he's down there at the barber shop with a bunch of other niggas. They sitting around getting blunted, talking about all the chicks they slept up with. He can't drive a truck to get his life together, but I bet you he got an 87 Regal sitting on them things. Oh, I'm just laying it out real. I bet you he got a 94 Caprice sitting on them things. He sure got the car straight, don't he? Niggas take care of what they want to take care of. We're running low on time. I'm going to take 1 or 2 more phone calls. Let me get caller from area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 917, last try. You're on live. All right, 917 just got hit over the head, apparently. Caller from 818. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Jason, Jimmy from San Diego. How you doing this evening?
Jimmy from San Diego, what's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to, let me get off speed. I wanted to circle back to what's going on here in California. You mentioned about most of California being middle America, Stockton and all that area north. That is nothing but a white supremacist stronghold, as is most of California. As you noticed here, we've had quite a few rallies. We had one in PB, Pacific Beach down here, where they didn't socially distance at all. There was one in Encinitas where they arrested one guy. And up in Huntington Beach yesterday, they broke out the Don't Tread on Me flags, the Trump 2020 banners, and a couple of pistols, and even started fighting. What do you make of these rallies, these quote-unquote pro-white supremacist get-togethers? What direction are they going with that?
It is an election year, and what you all have to understand is what I have taught you for the last decade is bearing itself out. You ignore it at your own peril. Power does not respect weakness. Power only respects power. And they are taking to the street in order to exert their power. If you all thought way to getting re-elected, so much for your first black president in a post-racial America. So, brother, they're taken to the streets because there is a silent majority of white supremacist sentiment. You've got your soft white supremacists, which is the average citizen, and your hardcore white supremacists who are the so-called extremists, the Nazi flag wearers, you know, the 88 like double lightning bolts. Those are extremists, but they're both white supremacists. So the guys with their guns are sending the signal, because you got to remember those folks with the guns out there are related to the folks who are sitting at home with no guns. The folks out there on the steps of the Capitol building represent for every one of those you see, they represent 10 or 25 who are sitting at home who didn't show up. If you don't believe me, how the hell did Trump get elected if that's not true? How did Greg Abbott get elected if that's not true? How did Ron DeSantis get elected? Get elected if that's not true. Get elected if that's not true. Get elected if that's not true. The governor of Mississippi, if that's not true. How could that be if that's not real?
Wow.
If they don't really represent multiples larger than that, how is this true? How is it that right now Trump is on the way to get reelected and Joe Biden is trying to appeal to not black folk, but white supremacists? If those people on those steps are not the majority sentiment. Why did the governor of Michigan, as soon as they showed up, she started backing down? And what they're doing is they're showing up every day like they did in Oregon, because they understand that every victory fuels the next victory. You got her to back down, take one step backwards. Great, we coming back tomorrow to make you take another 4 steps backward. And we're going to keep coming at you. You see, black folk haven't learned this. Black people haven't learned this. You see, when you have an agenda, showing up in the middle of the streets with protesting, that's not an agenda. Showing up and saying reparations, showing up and saying put police in jail, jail the prosecutors, capital punishment for them, that's an agenda. When you show up in numbers like that, that is an agenda. That gets things done. Remember, when Hillary Clinton confronted Black Lives Matter, she brought the camera out in front of them so she could show that she talked to so-called Black Lives Matter representatives. And remember how that happened. She asked them, what is it you want? And they were talking about,
we want a hug.
No, and we need a seat at the table, and we need you to understand that black folks is suffering. Okay, well, what do you want us to do? Well, you need to understand that, you know, we need government action, and and it's really up to you. You know, we came to let you know there's a problem, and it's up to you. Remember that video? They couldn't say it. If you want to know why it is that Bernie Sanders and the rest of them went down in flames, it's because the black media, this microphone, told you all from the beginning, this is what we need. While Mushmouth and the LGBT agenda over there, your NIMBY-nominated Nimrods, are crashing and burning and failing because they don't know what to do. They tried to take our agenda and hijack it. We snatched it back, and it's paying dividends. Why? Because we told you what to do. When Bernie Sanders told you, what's reparations? And I told you all, y'all need to stop being shy and coy about it. Say it like it damn well is. Reparations is dollars. Cut the check. Cut the check. I created that phrase. I took that phrase. It went ultra viral. Presidential candidates acknowledged, Jason, we heard you, because the rest of Black America started resonating with that. Cut the check. So now when black folk run up on politicians, they're not afraid anymore to say what the damn agenda is. And that's how you gain power. They're not showing up in California with guns to have a damn ammo-loaded block party. They're telling you we want control of the levers of power. We want complete freedom of movement. We want to be above public safety. You will not limit us in any way. Being free to destroy this country is the very definition of white privilege and white power. Remember, I taught you all a few months back. Brother, what do you call somebody that you have more power than them, but you cannot harm them? What do you call somebody who has more power than you, but they cannot harm you? They can do anything and everything they want except harm you. What do you call that person? You call him a servant. Think about this. I got to remind y'all, if you have an elderly person working, one of your elders living in a nursing home, the workers have more power than your sick grandfather does, but they don't have the authority to hurt him.
Right.
So yeah, you're more powerful, but you can't hurt him. Oh, you're a servant. So in other words, in the mind of the white supremacist, power is not power if he cannot harm somebody. Alice Jones, it's not power if I can't eat your ass. Straight barbar. I mean, I'm not saying this being hyperbolic. It's straight barbarism. What they're letting you know is it's not power if we can't hurt you. We're your servants if we can't harm you. No, get your ass out there on the steps and let them know that being white means, I told you all about this about guns. Why are they so, enamored with guns because the gun represents the power of life and death, and that power must be firmly held in white hands. And a government that limits you is telling you that you don't have the power to harm people. They're going down there to let them know, like, hell, we don't. We are here to let you know we run this. Now, do you notice where you're not seeing those type of rallies? Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina.
Why is that?
Well, because white supremacy is open and gives to them. They just gunned down a black man down there in Georgia. I got the article up on here. They just gunned him down. What the hell they got to protest?
The Aubrey dude, yeah.
What the hell do they have to protest over? White supremacy is on the move. White supremacy runs the yard. Why do they have to protest? What they got to protest? Ain't nobody limiting them. They are allowed to kill at will, backed by the state. They're only doing this in the places where they've been a little bit restricted from killing at will, and it's not really backed by the state. But in the places where they are allowed to harm black, at the end of the day, the places where they're allowed to harm black people, amazingly, mysteriously, there are no rallies. There are no protests. Nobody's showing up with their guns at the governor's office talking about you're restricting our movements. Texas, they restricted movements. Florida, they restricted movements. But what they didn't do, they restricted movements and said, oh, by the way, it's open season on niggas. The white supremacists like, okay. Right. So when you realize in these other places where they don't allow it to be open season on black people, they're showing up with their guns. Hey, we ain't gonna have it. You're supposed to be locking down on them niggas down there in Detroit. You ain't gonna sit up here and lock us down too. We want the right to roam as we please and question Jason Black in the parking lot of Comerica Park. You're not going to curtail our white power, not gonna have it. And if you do, bring your ass out that governor's office, because we're willing to bet one of us is willing to do a life sentence. There's one of us out here, we're betting that one of us is willing to be a martyr. That's what those protests are really about. And eventually it happens. Remember Gabby Gifford? If they can get at you.
Sure did.
Remember Steve?
They got at it.
Remember Steve Scalise? If we can get at you.
Yeah.
If we get an opportunity and we can get at you. What's his name? Eric Cantor shot up his office. If we can get at you.
Yeah.
We gonna get at you. There's gonna be one of us willing to do this life sentence if we get an opportunity to get at you. That's what that's about. It's about power.
I want to drop the Black and Brown Coalition on you, Jason, because I know I posted a video on First Dem News on Twitter. I think Tariq retweeted it. So what's been happening is we've got our good Latino friends in LA has been, quote unquote, putting the green light on black people. They've been making videos of them throwing eggs at us and throwing water bottles and stuff at us. And I just want, and I've seen some idiots in the comment section say, well, that's just out there in California. They ain't doing it down here in the South. It's just y'all in California. And I want people to really pay attention, because California's been our price, and you mentioned the 10,000 people a month leaving from here, going just to Texas. They ain't just going to Texas, they're going all over, right? You got illegals from Florida up through the Carolinas, all through that whole southern belt.
Well, it's not just illegals.
Construction jobs and all that.
It's not just illegals. I'm talking about the white folk, though. The white folk are leaving Florida. They're going to New Mexico. Yeah. They're going to Montana. They're going to Nevada. But their favorite spot to go to is Texas. But they're spreading out to a bunch of places. Now, that issue that you're having, as far as folks throwing eggs at you and stuff, well, you're right. They're not doing that in other places. But that doesn't make it any better. So anybody who's saying, well, as long as they ain't throwing eggs at me, I'm okay, that's not really an okay thing. But here's the real problem, brother. California as a place is, I said this a decade ago. California is done for black people.
Yeah.
As an individual. Right. You might be able to make something pop off as an individual. But as a state, as a group, black folk in California are done because the goal of black folk in California became dancing, singing, twerking, being entertainment, even if you're not in the entertainment business. So I don't have any good news to tell you. As an individual, you might be able to make it, but as a group, forget about it. And Black and Brown Coalition, ain't no need to talk about it. There's no such animal. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, Jason, I appreciate you. And I want your opinion on this. Do you see a bunch of foreclosures coming up in the next 3 to 6 to 12 months or so? Because I have an opportunity to work with a guy, with an investor, that he specializes in buying foreclosed and distressed properties. And I'll hang up and I'll listen to your answer. Who you want?
I'm expecting something to happen. The problem is I can't tell you how big. I don't know. Of course, there are going to be a large number of foreclosures. I can't tell you how many. Will it be as many as 2007 to 2009? I don't know. They've actually already started. They've actually already begun. So you don't even have to ask about that. It's actually already started. I can't tell you how far it's going to go. Like, you can go look it up online right now. You can Google it, that the foreclosures already began with the Airbnb people. Investors who bought these properties and then wanted to rent them on Airbnb. A lot of those people are already experiencing it. So it's already started. Now, how big it's going to get, I don't know. I can't tell you. But I can tell you it's already kicked off. And it will be significant. I don't know if there's the stomach for another TARP bailout. Because TARP really bailed out the banks. It didn't bail out individuals. I don't know if there's the stomach for another TARP bailout. But you're going to see a lot of folk losing houses. I just can't tell you how many. Because what you really want to know is it going to be as bad as 2008? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. But I do know it's already started. Brothers and sisters from around the world, the savages are at the gates. They're doing what they do. Everybody who has been preparing and listening to us, you're ready. Everybody who hasn't, you're helpless. There's been plenty of time to prepare. If you're not ready, there it goes. You were warned. When I said Judgment Day was here, I meant it's here. If you're new to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Over 94,000 subscribers and rising. This is not a little thing. We have taken over social discourse. We have upended presidential campaigns. We have taken control of the national narrative, and we're just getting started. If you haven't clicked that red subscribe button, do it now. If you haven't clicked that yellow notification bell, do it now. And to see our documentary work that I was referencing during the broadcast, you need to go to our website, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. Check out our documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified Ethnic Cleansing American Style, our newest documentary, Race War. All available on sale, all available now. You want to be able to check that out. blackchannelfilms.com. You want to be there. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio program. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.